live right now. I have a list of questions for you, Crystal. Thank you so much for jumping on and being so transparent about this whole thing. Because I think my audience is probably maybe the most critical of from what I've seen online. They are, and myself too, because I have owned a store before. So some of the things that I would point out, it's only because I've owned a store and I kind of, you run your store. Everyone runs their store differently, right? But the only
Yeah.
comparison I have is with my own store. So yeah, welcome
Yeah.
back. Welcome, Chris Gorman. We are
Hi.
up. We are live. And again, this is something that you didn't have to do. So we appreciate you. So I'll just start with the questions. This is a category titled "How You Started at Bricks and Minifigs."
All right.
When you were first employed by Bricks and Minifigs, who did you report to while you were the manager?
So, not anybody that has been involved in any of the discourse right now. The person that I had the direct contact with as manager is no longer with the company,
Hmm.
and they were always fantastic. So, I want to leave their name out of any conversation. It will eventually come up in our lawsuit because they are still involved in part of it, the social media control access of it, but like until then I don't want to bring their name out. I
Yep.
have absolutely no problems with them, and they yeah.
Yeah. If there's any questions, just we don't need an answer, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Who sold you the franchise?
So Ammon McNeff's signature and name is the only like name on the actual franchise agreement. I purchased the franchise from BAM Franchising Incorporated, from like the what we thought was the parent company.
Hmm.
I'm sure you've been watching. Echo Base Network's been doing a really great job. And oh goodness, I'm so sorry. What is the other channel?
Um.
Somebody in the chat's going to call out who
Uh.
else has been doing a really good job of trying to track down the parent company. But at the time and what is on my franchise agreement, it's Ammon McNeff acting as a representative of BAM franchising.
Got it. Yeah, I think BJC Live, is that who you're referring to? Yep.
Yes. Yes.
He's doing a
Yeah.
great job investigating all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
details. Did corporate describe the business as Lego authorized or imply Lego backed the franchise? What did you understand that to mean?
I understood that, and I think I can't speak for all the other franchise owners, but I think it was heavily implied that there was an agreement with Lego to allow them to operate as as an authorized reseller. I had a conversation with somebody at corporate before we went to a convention because I needed a new banner made, and so we had a whole conversation about what kind of language we could put on that to make us stand out from, because like at comic conventions you'll see a lot of custom Lego vendors, and our prices were obviously very different,
Yes.
particularly when you're looking at a Captain Rex, right?
Yeah.
And so something that could stand out as these are authentic mini Lego parts, Lego pieces. And so we had a whole conversation around how to use the authorized retailer, which in itself, when you say authorized, that implies somebody has given you authority to act as a retailer. When you pair that with Lego, I think it's a pretty logical conclusion to make that they were marketing themselves as having gotten authorization from Lego to act as a reseller.
Okay. Yep. That definitely makes sense. Did the seller make any earnings claims like this location will net? Because the store has been open before.
Yeah.
Were they any claims or any data given to you of what you were expected to make or what you could expect to make from the store?
Yeah, so we were given along with the franchise disclosure document that had like a general layout. I think most people that have been following this have seen at least one or two of those thus far about kind of average company wide. And then we were given a layout of kind of the sales trends of that store for the past few years. And then at the time of purchase, I had been managing it for over a
Mhm.
year. So I already had an idea of, how much we were spending on product, how much we were spending on payroll, all the business expenses, where our sales were trending. So I already kind of had a good idea of that. Well, I already had a very good idea of that.
So how did the conversation of you're a manager of the store, it's owned by corporate at the time, so owned by Almond McNabb or somehow, how did that conversation go where they just wanted you to buy the store?
So that was actually it's kind of come a little bit full circle, because I made a trip to the Canby location. When I was manager, I just drove up there because I'd only ever really seen one other actual location, and that was the Orem location. When I flew to Utah for my manager training, they had taken me to the Orem store. And so I drove up to Canby, which at the time was, an hour and a half away, and met David, who was the owner operator at the time, and was just talking to him. And he had made a comment and was like, "Are you gonna buy it?" Like, and I was
Oh,
like, "I no, I never considered that."
yeah.
And so then I was like, "That's crazy, right?" And so then I had a conversation with the representative at corporate that I'm not going to name,
Okay.
and said, "Hey, David said this. Is this insane? Like, do you think if I go back to, like, if I reach out to Matt and Ammon, they're going to be like, no, this is crazy?" And they were like, "No, I think that's a really great idea. Do you want me to approach them?" And I was like, you're not just like lying to me, right? You think I could do this? And so then they reached out to, I don't know who, somebody at corporate, whether it was Kai or Matt or Emmett. I'm presuming Matt, because that was usually the point of contact.
Uh,
And then got back to me and was like, no, like they want to talk about moving this forward.
oh wow.
And then, oh yeah, and then from that, the process was super fast. It was like, let's settle on a price, let's draw up the contracts, we'll send you the franchise disclosure document, and then in hindsight, a bit of a red flag that the purchase process moved forward with, like, within a couple of months. I went from managing to owning.
Yeah.
And, in hindsight, probably something, I look back at now and go, it seems a little odd, considering what I know other franchise owners have gone through in that process. So
That may how so again, you might have already answered. How much research did you do before agreeing to take over the store?
I mean, honestly, I agreed to like, for me, purchasing the store was based on my experience for the last, over a year of running it. I was essentially doing everything as a manager. I was doing everything as a manager that I would be doing as an owner. Just without the day-to-day, hey, we're going to purchase this display. Is that okay? Right?
Yeah.
Or we'd like to donate this to this party. Is this okay? Those small little day-to-day details. Nothing else really changed. I was already hiring and doing the payroll and doing the ordering and all of that stuff. So it was really just kind of like, I'm already doing it now. I might as well do it and work for myself.
Right.
So
Was the store ever profitable? Were you able to take a salary from the store? If the store was not profitable, how long did you think it would take for the store to be profitable?
I mean, the store was profitable from a couple of months after. By the second month that I took over as manager, we had increased our sales from, like, for double our monthly sales. And like, I have that in text messages. The corporate representative and I would go back and forth with each day if there was a really good day, or each month. So like, it was profitable right from the beginning. When you're dealing with Lego and when you're dealing with aftermarket like this, the profit margins are pretty slim. And like, technically, I took a salary. Ben misspoke a little bit on the last live where he said she didn't even take a salary.
Mm.
Technically took a salary, but then invested everything back into the company, into the business. And that was in kind of, more unique ways. One of the things that we couldn't get that we'd have a lot of customers ask for was the Lego exclusive sets. Because we were located in Salem, it was like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive to get to the closest Lego store that you could order the Lego, like the exclusive ones. So a lot of that would be, I'm going to take a very, very small profit margin on that and go to the store and be able to get those to have them in store. So things like that. So I took a small salary, but then essentially was invested back into the company itself.
Yeah, no, I understand that. When I had my store, yeah, we didn't take whatever even salary was put straight back into. It's just different accounting how you kind of look at it.
I mean, it was. It was enough to my salary outside of that was enough to, keep gas in my car.
Yep.
My Dutchess runs in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Ben owned his house when we got married, solar power, so household expenses. So it was, buying dog food, coffee, gas, stuff like that.
So
everything else went back.
In your mind, you're really just working for the equity because eventually you're going to have this amazing business that you can resell for X.
Yeah.
It's just like owning a house, right? You're just kind of making the payments until the house can be sold eventually for hopefully profit.
Yeah.
Now, I think the biggest criticism I've seen from my own audience and from myself is the consignment. It's a large chunk of consignment, right? I think the 65% from what I have researched is actually very generous, considering other bricks and minifigs.
I want to clarify. I did not write the consignment agreement. I did not come up with those numbers. Brian wrote that consignment agreement, wrote the contract, and those numbers were. He approached me with that and said,
"Okay."
Because in a situation like that, I didn't feel. I mean, it was definitely under the percentage that we would generally pay on a traditional, buy or trade thing. But like he would ask me, well, what do you think a good percentage would be? And I'd be like, I don't even know what to tell you because, the business owner part of me wants to say low.
Yep.
But the human in me wants to say high.
Yeah.
And then trying to factor in, okay, I'm going to have to pay royalties. And that was a big part of it, right?
Yes.
I have to pay royalties and taxes out of that percentage. And so that was really the thing that kind of pushed that percentage up a little bit more than it probably would have been. So
Brian was the one who came up with the 65%, or was there a little back and okay, he was the one.
There was a little bit of back and forth. And it was 65-35. It was 70-30. So Brian was getting 70%, the store was getting 30%. The 65-35 number comes in when the value of the item was over $1,000.
Okay.
So if it was over $1,000, the store was getting a slightly higher percentage because the idea around that was it would take longer to sell the higher value items. So it did, averaged out to, I want to say, but somebody could do the math on that and probably average out to maybe 68% somewhere between those two.
Okay, so
math is not my strong.
Compared to other bricks and minifig stores, pretty generous in terms. So Brian came with you with the collection, with the numbers he wanted, and it was just kind of signing off on it. How much inventory was in the store prior to consignment? Did you purchase any additional inventory during consignment? Where do you usually buy your inventory, approve vendors? So I guess this is an inventory question, not related to Brian.
I mean, there are social media posts going back on the pages from before Brian's collection came in. So anybody that's been to a Bricks and Minifigs, or in my location in particular, knows that inventory kind of waxes and wanes, right? Mm-hmm. The used stuff is entirely customer dependent, so that's always changing. The store was already well stocked before we took that. Stuff was coming in all the time, and I was still purchasing from. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but we had a purchase, like a vendor agreement with Toy House, where we could get the new in box. I don't know if that information is out there.
I think Last Relic mentioned it. Yeah, that there
Okay.
wasn't much
Yeah. So
profit.
we were able to purchase the new in box sets from Toy House at like a warehouse at a wholesale price.
Hmm.
So we were still doing that with every new, every month with the new releases, restocking as stuff sold out. So it didn't having Brian's collection there didn't change anything on how I was operating as far as buying other inventory.
And how much of that was from customers? How much would you buy from customers? Like if you had to give a percentage or a range?
So anything that was used, right? Anything that was retired
Hmm.
or used would have come directly from customers. Um, and so generally in an average Bricks and Minifigs store, you're gonna look at like I want to say maybe 60 to 70% of the inventory was bought from other customers,
Oh wow!
was in the yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
it is important to have like a good community to know that you guys pay up.
yeah.
You know that
Well, you
hey.
have to one of the big changes that I made. So the Salem location was opened by Matt Bauman.
Hmm.
He launched that location, then ran it, owned it, and then it became a corporate location. I don't want to speak ill of the previous manager before me. I originally came on as assistant manager and then
Hmm.
was promoted to manager in about a month and a half. Um, but the store itself had started to gain a reputation when it came to offer prices for used
Right.
for our buy tree. And when you live in a small community like that, that reputation can destroy a business. Because if I don't
Absolutely.
have customers wanting to bring in and sell their stuff, I don't have a store,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
The profit margin on new in box is so low. Um, and you can also find that at any big box store or online or through Lego itself. That's not the main factor of a Bricks and Minifigs location. I don't think any store owner will tell you that new in box is what they build their business on. That's not the center of the business model. It's the used, the retired, the built, the bulk, the minifigs, all of that stuff. And so when you develop a reputation for lowballing customers, you put your entire store at risk. Um, and so that was one of the first things that I did is those first few months our trade offer, our buy offer went from well below industry standard, I would say, to overly generous for a few months as we built up. And this was when I came on as manager. As we built back up that customer base, going, okay, there's new management in charge. We can actually get our value worth. And then we kind of settled at a happy medium in between. Because if you don't have people willing to come in and sell you their stuff, you don't have a business model.
Yeah. No, I agree. So maybe you can speak on this. Maybe you can't. What's the typical monthly revenue?
So our monthly revenue sat at about 20 to 25,000 a month.
Okay.
And it would fluctuate depending on the month itself. You have, September, October, slightly lower sales because it's back to school, it's Halloween, there's not as much. Then you have going into November, you get the Christmas shopping. So month to month, it fluctuates a little bit, but we were generally sitting about 20 to 25,000.
2025. Okay. What was your
Yeah.
monthly overhead, rent, labor, royalty fees, and cost of goods?
Oh, that is all stuff that I don't have an answer to because those records were all in the email that I don't have access to.
Okay.
I could make a guess, but you'd sit here for the next 10 minutes trying to watch me do math in my head.
But it
I
was
don't think
profitable.
anybody wants to do that. Yeah, I mean, I think we were up. Yeah, I genuinely don't have those numbers.
Okay. But it was profitable, generally speaking.
Yeah,
It was okay.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so who suggested the consignment? You mentioned that was Brian. We heard that it's common for Bricks and Minifig franchisees in an area to pool together to purchase large collections. Why didn't you do that? Or is that something that happens?
Um, that is so that's why we're requesting the Slack channel
Mhm.
communications in our either in our mediation or our lawsuit with corporate. Because like that was I don't remember if I reached out to the other Oregon stores. It was
Mhm.
so long ago I can't remember if I actually sent them messages. I do know at the time and as it was coming towards the end of it, there was a time when I was going to reach out to the other Oregon locations and say, "Hey, do you want to come together and purchase some of these?" I don't remember if I actually did that or not. I'd have to be able to see those messages to see if I reached out to the other stores.
Was that something that is common? Does like Bricks and Minifigs tell you, hey, if it's a big collection, you should reach out to other has that
So
happened in the
it's
past?
funny. It's funny. So there was a moment stores would get in like, "Hey, I bought this storage unit and it's
Yep.
got all this. Does anybody need this theme, right?
Hmm.
Or is anybody running low on whatever?" There was a time where corporate actually kind of shut down the direct store to store sales
Oh wow. Okay.
through Slack. There was, and then they created like because there was a Slack channel for store to store sales. And I don't remember the phrasing or the timing specifically. But there was a moment where corporate came out and was like, we want to do it differently how stores sell to each other. I don't remember the details behind that. They would again be in the Slack communications. I just remember I didn't really do it often. The only time I would really do it is if stores would reach out and say, "Hey, we're running really low on bulk." And then, if we had a big backstock of either sorted or unsorted bulk, we'd offer it at essentially at cost. We did that a couple of times. I did that with the store in Eugene. Again, comes full circle a little bit sometimes. The football team at U of O was doing some kind of like build event, and they were looking to buy a ton of sorted bulk. And at the time, the Eugene store didn't have enough, so they put out a message, and I was like, "I've got a ton." And so the assistant coach, somebody from the team came up and bought tubs and tubs and tubs at a discount. So it happened. I didn't really pay much attention because I generally didn't do
So
it.
you never met Brandon Best until he came in the store that night to kind of
No.
kick you. Okay, so
Well, I can't actually confidently say no because I do not remember. I didn't realize he'd come in
oh the
previously
mystery,
and
yeah, the mystery
I
shopper.
don't, I don't, I don't know if I met him. I don't know if I was working that day. So I don't want to say no
But
because
you
it may have been a customer
yeah,
come in and it came in and I said hello.
but you
As
did
far as I am aware, the first time I met him was
so
November
so
14th.
you didn't know he owned the Eugene store at the time.
No,
Okay.
no.
Um this so the other critical thing is like the layaway. Did you ever tell Brian about the layaway? And then
Yeah.
were you tracking the layaway by hand with spreadsheets, or how was that? How was layaway?
So, yeah. So, I mean, Brian knew about the layaway.
Okay, he did.
Um,
Okay, so that's
and
yeah, that's something that we
yeah,
didn't know. He did know about the
yeah.
layaway.
Yeah. So we were tracking it. The spreadsheet that's been made available online, there are a couple columns missing.
Mhm.
I don't know why those got cut off. So I have the full like spreadsheet. So we were tracking layaway not only on that spreadsheet where as I went through the tickets, I would mark it as on layaway, and then we had it in the back marked as layaway, and then we had like an envelope system by the front register where we had the name and contact information of the people that had items on layaway, and then we were storing all their tickets and then keeping a running amount of like what they had paid and what sets on that envelope. Um, Granted, it like there's criticism around that. That's fair. I don't have a problem with criticism done in good faith. I have a problem with criticism that's done in like by lies, by disingenuous phrasing, right? But
So
I
go.
was operating, I was operating the store. The records made sense to me. What I was doing was cleared with Brian. My staff knew how to address it, how to handle that. Outside of that, it was working. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And any of these issues with the layaway, with like any of that stuff, had our consignment agreement come to its natural end in July or in January, like anything would have been found and Brian would have been paid for, right? Any sets that for some reason we couldn't find, he would have been paid for. Like all of that stuff would have been taken care of. Had corporate come in and did their 30-day notice and provided an inventory or called me on the phone and said, "Hey, we have this guy here. What can you tell us about?" Like any of those things, any of these questions, like they wouldn't exist. So like people can have a problem with me doing layaway or how I did it. That's valid. But at the end of the day, as a store owner, my first priority is to my customers.
Right.
Brian, I include Brian in one of those customers, right? So I was selling his items the best that I could for the best value that I could get him. And but also like for my customers. And I can understand why a 13-year-old kid wants the Ewok Village, but also can't decide between the other 5 sets that he wants. And it doesn't hurt me and it doesn't hurt Brian to say, we're going to hold on to those for you.
Okay, so
Pay us as you can.
I
Bring in
think
your birthday money, your Christmas money, right?
yeah. So
The amount of inventory holding back, we could have held back 95% of that consignment agreement, like that inventory, and still had extra room on the retired shelf. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand because they think all of his sets should have been on the floor, but we had a limited space in which we could actually like display retired sets because we had to display new and box stuff. That had to be the majority of our shelving space.
so I think what I personally didn't understand was that Brian approved it. So he was okay
He knew
with
we were doing it.
he knew
Yeah.
you were doing it.
Yeah.
He was okay with
Yeah,
it.
it was marked on that inventory sheet that we were, yeah, and we had talked about the layaway.
Okay,
Yeah.
so um it was initially your idea or Brian's idea, or was it a collaboration to
To
get
do
to?
layaway?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
it was right off the bat. It was the very first day that we launched the collection that we have that Facebook post where his dad and Brian and
yep.
everybody, that very first day somebody came up and was like, "Can we do layaway?" And I
Oh,
was
the
like,
customer. It was a customer's idea.
yeah.
Okay, so it was a customer came up to you, saw the Lego sets, and
Yeah.
then they asked you, "Can
It
you
was
do
a customer
layaway?"
from California. The
Oh, wow.
customer that came from California, that came up, he ended up purchasing the UCS snow speeder, but then there were a couple other sets that he wanted. And so he was asking, and I was like, I don't see why not. Brian didn't have a problem with it. So, okay. And then he would call every month or so, every couple of months to make a payment. And then at some point he was back in Oregon and picked up the rest of that he had put on layaway.
Okay.
So it was never a big, yeah.
I guess my also question about layaway is, so you have a 13-year-old kid. You know, like when I think about Holy Grail and collectible, I think about like there's only one Holy Grail, right? Why did you allow people to do multiple? Like CoffeeZilla's thing was a little bit surprising, right? Like there were people doing, I guess, 8 or 10 different sets. Because when I think about like, okay, there's one set I like.
There was one person doing.
Okay, there's one person.
I think he had 6. I'm trying to remember which exact ones. I think he had six, and like one of them was the Ewok Village,
Hmm.
right? That was his big. And then one of them was you can actually see in the pictures that I took that night, like his name and the layaway. So one of them was a minifigure polybag. I can't remember which one it was. There were a couple of different like minifigures, and then a couple of the like the smaller sets. Um,
So it wasn't like coffee,
like
because coffee said there was like one doing 8 and then one doing 10, but it's just only one guy doing 6.
I mean, Walker definitely had the most.
Okay,
But also keep in mind, before that collection came in, he was a regular customer.
right.
I had a great relationship with him and with his mom. And he was, he was fantastic. And I never had any issues with them coming in and making payments. He would bring in his, birthday money or money he'd earned, whatever, make a payment, and then his mom would sneak in and be like, "Don't tell him."
Okay.
Right, and put
More,
$100
yeah,
down.
more payment down.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
cute. Yeah, that's cute.
I mean, there were a couple other people that had two or three or one or two items, but for Walker, that was a like I would have made, I made exceptions for him. Because it's the personal connection, right?
Yeah.
It's the customer that
So
one of my favorite things is being able to see the happiness that you can give to people, right?
yeah. So I'm gonna skip ahead because there's people in chat talking about Tattle. So
I've been
Tattle.
told I have to keep the chat closed because I had a really bad problem when we did the making law simple of I barely built any of my Lego set because I was trying to read the
Yeah,
comments, the
yeah,
chat as I'm talking, and all of them were like, "You can't do that. We have one person that reads the chat. You can't
yeah,
you
yeah,
can't try it." So
yeah.
it's
Okay, so Tattle. Okay, so Tattle's in the store when Brandon comes in at nighttime with the U-Haul.
yeah.
Then Tattle is still there the next morning with the. So you're thinking Tattle's safe because there's 2 employees. What did those 2 employees have to say? Like, did they witness anything? I mean, I think they're probably in the thick of it, right? Like, they would know what happened to Tattle.
I haven't talked to them.
Oh, you haven't talked to them.
And I haven't, and I won't. Um, for legal reasons.
Okay,
I
got it.
don't want there to be any claims that I've had, behind the scenes communication with them.
Influencing.
I
Yeah.
gave the Kaiser Police Department their contact information when they very first reached out to me,
Hmm.
way back in, November, December of 24. But I haven't had conversations with either of them. And I won't until it gets to the point that we have to in you know, within a legal setting.
So, Ben's recent reckless Ben's recent video says they may have found Tattle. Has he reached out to tell you, hey, we has a communication happened where like he's trying to get you to identify Tattle?
Yeah, we had I don't want to spoil any of his
Of course, yeah.
his coming content. I have had a conversation. We did. I imagine you'll see my face on that video.
Oh, okay, part 4 will be the history
Yeah.
of Tattle.
Yeah.
You would take Tattle back, right? If he was found.
Please don't read anything into my hesitation
Yeah.
right there.
No, I get it. If it has a different
I
owner, I understand. I foster dogs too. I understand if it's he's
Yeah.
in a happy home
If-
already and
yeah.
he's just settled. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, if Tattle were still in a shelter somewhere, I would absolutely take Tattle without hesitation to find him a new home. Because we have 3 dogs
Yeah.
and 2 cats, and one of my dogs is a husky gray wolf.
Yeah, I've seen it. Very cute
That-
in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, very very cute. Would 100% eat a bird if given the opportunity.
Okay. Yeah.
And a situation in a home like that is not ideal for any domestic bird. That is a factor. There are a lot of factors why I didn't take Tattle that night. But like that is one of the factors. But if it was he's still in a shelter somewhere, I would absolutely take him on a short-term basis until I could find a good long-term home for him.
Are you surprised that Brandon, or I guess it was Josh Johnson, why would they want Tattle? Did they just do that to spite you? Was that like a show of, I guess, force? Like, I don't really, they could have just taken more Legos, right? So Tattle's cage is a
So
relatively large cage. I'm kind of, it's kind of doesn't make any sense for them to take a living bird rather than more Legos.
I can only speculate that that night there was a conversation about anything that belongs to the business you cannot take with you.
Hmm.
And they had asked me specifically about Tattle, the cage, the food,
Mm.
everything. All of it was purchased with the store's bank card,
Oh, okay, I see.
and it belonged to the store.
Okay.
And Kai and Brandon were very clear that anything that was not mine personally could not be taken.
Oh, I see. So Tattle was the stores, and then that's why
The
they.
store asset.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I did not
Yeah.
know that. That makes
Yeah.
a good sense. So I think that was about going back to more about the business and layaway. Percentage wise, how complete do you think the inventory of Brian's collection was at the time you were kicked out? Was everything pretty much included, or were you still going through all it as time was available? Was it just new in box and loose minifigs? I did watch your interview on the Sheldon mentioned there was bags of minifigs,
Yeah.
or were there
We
open
have
sets
photo
too?
and videos of those as well. There are photos of the minifigures from that collection in that big thing that we sent to CoffeeZilla.
So, percentage wise, how complete do you think the inventory was of Brian's collection? Was there anything that was not inventoried, like minifigs or
Oh,
the?
do you mean in my spreadsheet?
Yes, I know that you mentioned that there
Yeah.
were parts. There were like
Yeah.
parts, like kind of almost like
Yeah.
accessories, like
Yeah.
staffs and guns
Random
and.
hair pieces and yeah. Yeah. Aside from that, I haven't actually looked at M&R's like the full list of what he purchased. But I did the stuff that I returned to Brian, those the 13 sets. So there were 327 minifigures that I returned to Brian after all of this happened.
Mhm.
That then I believe were part of the purchase with M&R. Those 327 minifigures were never inventoried on the spreadsheet. They
Got
were
it.
still in the original bags that I had gotten them from Brian's dad. I just recently went through and because when we returned them to Brian, we wrote out uh, uh, an inventory, right? A list, and we both signed it with witnesses just because we knew this may all become something, and we both
Yep.
wanted to be um to have that kind of record. Sorry, I'm looking at so
No, no problem.
I just went through and double checked, and I'm just confirming one more time. So I returned 13 sets to him. And on my inventory sheet, all 13 sets, I have a high low value listed, except for nope, I do. I have a high low value listed. So those 13 sets would have appeared on my inventory sheet. If I did not have a high low value listed, I did not inventory it. And if it was a set and I didn't have a high low value listed, means I didn't have the set. So outside of those 13 sets that I returned that night, any of the other sets that M&R purchased would have been ones that we never had, that Brian had in it, like him, that he retained. I know there were several that we had duplicates. And so, like, if we had sold out of the duplicates, I would have reached out and he would have brought another one into the store. There was also a big box that was like taped up that we suspected was like more battle packs and microfighters, but I don't know. Um, so the only thing that like really didn't remain inventoried was that were those 327 minifigures and the individual bags of like miscellaneous pieces.
So I want to highlight something you just said. I think this is really good to know. It's Brian. I think he has a sister who's a lawyer. Everything Brian has done, getting you to sign stuff,
I think his
papers.
wife,
Yeah. Oh, his wife is a lawyer.
maybe. I think his wife.
I think some type of relative of his, yeah, is
Yeah.
a lawyer. And when you
Yeah.
mentioned that when you turned over the minifigs, you both signed something with witnesses. That's something like only a lawyer would think about.
Yeah.
Oh, I need a witness. I need to. So it's not having talked to you.
But we both Brian and myself video recorded the entire exchange as well.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah.
But I also think we came into this with the knowledge after what happened in November that it would be a good idea on both of our parts to have, for our own protection, to have proof of exactly what was passed over.
Yeah, but it does seem like Brian is far more involved in the consignment and layaway. It's not just like he dumped a bunch of Legos on you and said, "Okay, do whatever you have to do."
No. Yeah.
It's more like, this is my contract. This is how okay, I approved the layaway. Why would it take 90 days to pay out Brian when the agreement stated that he should be paid monthly?
So this question makes sense. So there was a 3-month grace period, a 3-month window. I just actually talked to him a few days ago and confirmed with him that the last payment that the store had made to him, the last check he picked up was in October.
Mm-hmm.
The check he picked up in October was for sets, like sales in July.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a 3-month window. And that was so that we could, like, that factored in gift card sales, that factored in like trade sales or store credit sales. Because if I was having somebody bring in something to sell, right, and then buying something from Brian's collection with that trade money, I wouldn't actually have that cash in hand until the thing they brought in sold.
Yes.
Right. So there was, and then factoring in the processing of gift cards. So there was a 3-month window. So that's where that confusion comes in of the 60 days. So we were paying a check every month, but we were going back 3 months and paying for the 3rd month beforehand. So his next check would have been due November 15th for sales in August.
Correct. Okay, so it's kind of how I on YouTube, because it takes a month for them to do the accounting, and so what I'm paying like as a percentage per month, it's actually like 2 months ago. So and then I would also be like, from my point of view, there's also chargebacks within 90 days. There's also other issues that may arise that you don't want to be kind of caught, with no money and no cash, right? So you were paying him every month, and you did pay him every month, but every month it was rotating. It was based on 90 days ago, the situation. That's because of trade-ins, gift cards, chargebacks, that makes sense. That's actually the same way Alex. So Alex gets a monthly based on what we make, and I don't know. I cannot predict, I can't pay him November for November. It makes no sense because YouTube doesn't tell me. So I'm paying him November for like October or something, like even maybe later, September, because there's a period in time where the YouTube tells you, then you gotta wait for it to go to the bank account. And then once in the bank account, it's ready to go. Okay, that makes sense. Why have duplicates located in storage and selling online seems to be a great way? Why not sell online?
Time investment. That was the time investment. That was, I mean, it's the same reason why Brian brought the collection into our store instead of selling online himself. It was the time investment. I know there are some Bricks and Minifigs locations that sell inventory online. And we looked at that and we looked into the practicalities of doing that. You essentially have to hire a full-time position to do that because it has to be a constant minute by minute running update of what you are selling. Somebody purchases it online, there's got to be somebody in the store catching it immediately and pulling it from the shelf. We didn't have the staffing. I didn't have the time. And we didn't have the staffing to dedicate to that. It wasn't like, and that's the practical factor of it. But the other factor is I'm running a brick and mortar store, and having his items in there is helping bring people into the store.
Yeah.
And like that's and so and again, it wasn't an issue with him.
Right. So
that, like, if he'd wanted them sold online, he could have taken them to a company or hired a person to specifically do that. Right. That was not my business model for online sales. Was never something that we had invested any of the time in. And it was, like, quite frankly, not a thing I had time to invest in. And then you add in the additional risk factors when you sell something online, even on something like Bricklink. There's always a risk factor that I'm going to sell an $800 set to somebody. They're going to request a refund, and I'm going to say, okay, ship it back, and then I'll refund, and they'll ship it back, but it'll be an empty box. Right? And then, like, those are always concerns anytime. That's why Bricks and Minifigs has a business model, right? Is the people that don't want to take on the liability of trying to sell online. I certainly wasn't going to do that with the consignment collection.
So, in your opinion, it was just too high risk, and then it also would cost more money. It would cost money to do.
It was high risk. It was a time commitment that we just couldn't swing.
Okay, so another question. You repeatedly said that you didn't have time to sell online. If the collection was worth $200K, your estimate, that means a approximately $70K payout for your store, or easily over 10% of yearly revenue for most BAM franchises. Does an extra 10 to 20% in yearly sales not warrant your attention? So maybe you already spoke about this, but they're just saying, like, this is a large collection.
I mean, maybe looking at the had Brian wanted to get paid all at once, then we would have come up with a different model. I would have sent him somewhere else, right? If he had a problem with how long they were taking to sell any of that stuff, he had the right to end the consignment agreement at any time. It wasn't an issue. It wasn't a, hey, why aren't they selling fast enough? Why aren't they, like,
right?
So it was never an issue.
If your customer, if the customer is not on you to, like, hey, why are we selling that more? Can we sell online? And you say, oh, we can do layaway. Okay, great. We do layaway. I think, that's my misunderstanding was how much control Brian actually had in this process. And
they remain his possession. Anything that he would have come to me and said, if he had come to me and said, listen, I know our agreement's only been going 6 months, but I was really hoping they would sell a lot faster. What can we do to change that? I would have been very honest about, like, I can try to get them online, but I'm already working 70 hours a week. I don't think I have the time investment for that. Here's what we can do. If he had come to me and said, like, he could have made any changes in our contract right there. Like, he had the right to end that agreement at any time. I understand. Like, I try not to get frustrated.
Yeah.
Because of, listen, my relationship with my family, with my mother, is 5 years worth of therapy that we're not going to go into. But I know, and my husband and my stepson and my daughter all know that I can react defensively to criticism, particularly criticism that feels unfair. I think that's a fair. I don't think that's necessarily like a character flaw. I think a lot of us, when we feel like the criticism is something that feels unfair or unjust or founded in inaccurate information, right? I don't think that's necessarily a me thing. But I also understand that I'm coming to understand that when when a situation like this goes viral the way it does and weaves in so many different people, like I understand all the questions and I understand, but it's a lot like hindsight
Yes, it's a lot of
tells you
hindsight.
a
Yeah,
lot,
and
right? But also, if you're uninvolved in something, it's really easy to step up and say, well, why didn't you do it this way? Yes, there are different ways I could have done a lot of things. Like, I'm not saying they're not. At the time, it was working.
yeah.
It was working until somebody stepped in and threw a giant wrench in how everything was
So
working.
I think I've always said this is like as soon as Kai McAllister comes in, says corporate is responsible now, that's when your responsibility ends, right? That's up to corporate. So
yeah,
I've always agreed.
yeah,
Now, again, because it's the internet and people nitpick and people,
yeah,
it's like, oh, so I think in the mindset, and this was my mindset, like if Crystal did a better job selling them faster, maybe Brian would get more money, right? Like, so that's
yeah.
kind of just a hindsight. What if, right? The what if
Absolutely,
about it,
right? If I
right?
had, if we had sold more, he would have been paid more before corporate stepped in. That's
Yes,
like
yeah,
that's
that's
that,
exactly. Yep, that's exactly
right?
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a hindsight
I
type
did
of.
the best that I could
Yeah.
at the time, and
How old are you?
I'm sure that there are 1,000 other ways I could have done it. I didn't, and that like I can't change anything going back. And it's also not like I'm gonna learn from this experience for the next
Yeah,
time
yeah,
because
exactly.
this is never happening again.
So never a Lego store again. You've decided.
No,
Okay, because
no, I don't.
I
I
saw
listen.
I saw a post on Reddit, and it would be really funny if you opened like brick by brick, like brick by brick.
That was a joke,
Oh, that
and
was a
some
joke.
people got real offended. They're like,
Yeah,
"How dare she make jokes about this situation?" And I'm like, when your face goes viral,
yeah, yeah.
you gotta find the humor in it somewhere.
Okay, so
Uh,
so Reckless Ben just posted a picture about Amanda. Do you feel bad for Amanda at all? I mean, how do you know Amanda, or was she just like
okay,
Josh's hire?
I
Like,
should have worn my "I am not Amanda"
yeah, yeah,
shirt just to
yeah,
clarify.
yeah, yeah.
I have never met Amanda. I
Okay,
did not hire her. She never worked for me.
yeah,
I do not know what she was told about the situation. I don't know what she was told about me. I don't know what I don't know what she went into that first interaction with Ben knowing.
yes,
So I can't judge her for I don't want to judge her for a lot of her reaction for all of her reactions. I will just simply say from a customer service standpoint
yeah. It could
that an
maybe.
employee that responded that way to anybody walking into my store would not have remained an employee.
Okay, fair, fair.
But I will also, I've said this before, I'll say it again. We never know what is going on in somebody else's life. I've worked in customer service for 30 years now. And I've come to learn that, the fast food server at the drive-up window, right? The grocery store clerk, the convenience store, the person that's pumping your gas, every single person has a life beyond the moment that you interact with them, and you never know what they are experiencing. And so I always try to go into every interaction operating on that sense of grace. I don't know what is happening in your life. And so I always try to look at it through a lens of that. And at best that I can act in her own defense if I want to. I don't know if I want to. She might just be a bitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know her. I could be defending her.
So
Ben, my husband Ben, has a tendency to assign the best motivations to everybody.
yeah,
I
he's a
tend
nice
to operate
guy.
on the opposite. And then sometimes we'll switch. The best I can say is I don't know what she was told about myself. I don't know what she was told about Ben. I don't know what she was told about Brian that may have miscolored or been behind her interactions
But
in that video.
your two
But I've never met
employees,
her. I didn't hire her. She didn't work for me.
your two employees, they were let go after you were corporate took over, or did they still work there?
So I know they continued to work there.
Okay.
I actually went back to the store the next morning. Kai gave me permission.
Hmm.
Um, very, very generously gave me permission to go back to the store the next morning because their payday was every week on Friday, to pay them for their last week's paycheck. And I did that because there was no way I was letting corporate dig into my payroll accounts. So I went back to the store before opening the next morning, gave them both their paychecks. I know they continued to work because they appear in Ben's first video.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay. Was
yeah,
it the Queen of
yeah,
Bricks? She was
yeah,
an employee of yours. Oh wow. Okay. Wow,
yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
both of those employees,
Oh,
um,
they were on
yeah,
Victor's channel. They were both okay.
yeah,
So those were your
yeah,
two employees. So
yeah,
they just changed out manager, and then those two
yeah,
employees were actually your
yeah,
employees. Okay.
yeah. I
Were you?
don't know. I don't know at what point. I mean, I do know that Callie mentioned being fired after the interactions with Ben. I don't know exactly when that happened, and I don't know what happened with the other. I would imagine both of them don't have a job now because the
Because
store is
yeah, the
closed.
store's
But
closed. Yeah.
I do know that they were there working, and the store was opened the next morning.
Okay, so they just changed out kind of the manager ownership, but they kept the two employees, and oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. We love Queen of Breaks. Were you I guess do you see when Reckless Ben called her trying to get her a job and she was really kind of upset? Did that
I didn't watch that video, but somebody did caught like mention in a Reddit post and kind of gave like a transcript breakdown of
Mhm.
it. And somebody actually reached out to me and was like, do you think like what do you think? Do you think we should try to reach out to her and like
Yeah.
would she want to go fund me or would she want like people reaching out and trying to find her a job? And I was like, she said very clearly that she wanted to be left out of
Yeah,
everything.
she did.
And I think we have to take that at face value.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I hope that both of them know that they can reach out to me at any time. My old phone number that they used to have, I can still get messages on it. And so they can reach out to me at any time if they need a letter of recommendation or
Oh,
anything. And
absolutely.
I am more than happy to do that. But
Uh,
I'm gonna respect their privacy. And because I can understand why you wouldn't want to be involved in something like this
yeah.
outside of what has already taken place.
Did you pay corporate the royalties on consignment sales? If so, how did that work?
Yeah, so the consignment sales were rang in through our point of sale system as an inventory item. I explained to Brian, I explained to Brian and Brandon how they were rang in through a specific inventory item, and so corporate has access to that POS system on the back end. They could calculate our monthly royalties every month. They would send us, here's how much you've sold. This is your royalty amount. And so, yeah, royalties were paid off of those consignment items.
Oh, so they absolutely kind of knew that there was this giant flux of inventory coming in, Star Wars
They,
vintage.
they knew they certainly knew that a significant amount of Star Wars inventory was being
Yes.
sold on a monthly basis. They certainly knew that we had taken in a collection when we posted the
Facebook.
press release on our social media. They knew about all of that. Behind the scenes, they absolutely knew about the consignment agreement before I signed the consignment agreement.
And the, and
And the proof of that is going to be in the Slack communications that we're still waiting for in Discovery.
and probably most importantly, they were getting paid. You know, they're
Yeah,
getting money from,
yeah,
so that follow
yeah.
the money, right? Um, okay. This is another category where things went wrong. Where and when do you feel the relationship with BAM Corporate changed?
Um, uh, at 6:01 p.m. on November 14th,
When Brandon,
when Brandon said, okay, hand over your keys. And I said, I'm sorry, what now? Yeah, corporate sent me here. Your franchise agreement is terminated. I'm gonna need your keys or I'm gonna call the police. Yeah, that's when my relationship with corporate changed.
when
The
did you?
moment I locked the door.
When did you first approach corporate about potentially leaving the country? Did you inform Brian as well?
I approached corporate November 8th and said it was a quick couple minute phone call with Kai saying, hey, we're looking at moving. I want to schedule a meeting to talk about the next steps. Um, and I've received criticism for this. I did not discuss it. I did not discuss it with Brian, because we didn't know if we were going to be able to.
Right. Yeah. So
I wanted that meeting. I wanted that meeting with corporate to even find out if we were going to be able to sell.
Correct.
Because we were in a 5-year franchise agreement. Had corporate said, no, we don't want the store, you can't sell it, you have to stay there, we would not have moved, and everything would have continued as it was until the consignment agreement ended in January. What I hoped was that I would have that meeting with corporate, and then I would have a conversation with Brian, and it would go one of, a couple of different ways. Either corporate would include his inventory in the evaluation of the purchase price of the store, and then I would pay Brian, or a different buyer would buy it and then the same thing, and then I would pay Brian for the remainder of the collection. Or they wouldn't want it. I'd say, this is stuff on consignment, this is how much you will actually be able to profit off of this, because 70% is going to Brian, and they may have said no, and then it would have been returned to Brian. I didn't want to approach him with it until I had an answer. And I hoped I'd have an answer when that November 14th happened. They said, we have a guy from Eugene who is maybe interested in purchasing a franchise location. He's going to come take a look at it, and then we'll talk more. And it was and then we'll talk more. Okay, so this guy's going to come look, and then he's going to decide if yes or no he wants to purchase the location. And then we'll go through the steps of the third-party inventory,
yep,
all of that, the purchase price, all of that. And then I can go to Brian and say, you have one of two options. The store can buy them outright, or you can have your entire collection back. Which would you prefer? But going back and saying, maybe kind of might be moving, I don't really know yet.
Yeah,
and it feel, even in hindsight.
So yeah, A, somebody has to decide if they want to buy or not. B, you have to decide on a price, because there's no inventory.
And corporate has to decide if they were going to let me sell.
Yes, to this individual. Yeah, they have the final approval. So yeah, at that point, why tell Brian when it's so early stages? The Kaiser police report states Brian tried to get in contact with you in the 3 days following the takeover, but was unable to. Why is that?
Yeah. So the day after happened, part of what was in our termination agreement, part of what was the advice that we've gotten was, don't contact anybody. Don't contact corporate, don't contact employees, don't contact anybody. You don't want to make corporate file a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And so those first few days was waiting for a phone call from corporate going, here's your inventory. And then me being able to tell Brian, listen, I'm really sorry, but I have all your money, right?
Yep.
And trying to play by, sorry, my light is, Ben is the one that handles the lighting, and he's still asleep. So it's, being able to give him a definitive answer. So the first couple of days, we were trying to play ball with corporate. We were still operating under the assumption that they were going to do things the legal way, the way that our franchise agreement said they were supposed to do things. And then it got to the point that third day where I couldn't do it anymore. I was feeling shitty about it. And I couldn't do it. It didn't matter what our attorney was saying. It didn't matter what anybody was saying. I had to have a conversation with him. And I don't regret that. I wish that you have the two parts, right, that are going, okay, here's all the advice that I'm getting,
Yeah.
and this is probably the safest legal way to do this. But then here's the thing that makes you feel like not a terrible human being, right? Um, and this is one of those situations where those two things fought. Like maybe if I behave and maybe if I follow their rules, then they'll do the right thing.
Yeah, you still had
And
full faith that corporate is gonna make everyone whole,
yeah,
gonna give you a good payout,
yeah,
fair payout. Um, yeah. So yeah, no, and your lawyers are telling you, hey, let's play nice. So,
yeah. And then it reached a point where I couldn't do it anymore and I had to have a conversation with him. Um I wish that I had done it sooner. Knowing what I know now, I would have done a lot of things that night differently. And I would have had him come to the store that very night. Um Looking back if I could do something differently.
yeah, yeah. So you didn't return 13 sets, one of which being a Cloud City, and around, I guess they're saying 240 minifigs, but the number is different.
327 is the
Yeah.
number that I have, but yeah.
Until January 9th, 2025, when you lost the store on November 13th. Why did it take so long to get Brian's items returned to them when they were in your possession?
I mean, we were packing up and moving. And that was me not realizing that I had them until we started to go through the garage where we kept all of the convention stuff. And then going, oh crap, I still have these. And then reaching out to Brian, and I have the messages. I don't remember when I reached out to him, but like it was before we met, and there was like conversations about like what's the best way to go about doing this and when do we both have time to do this. It was genuinely just, I don't know if anybody's ever packed up their entire life and moved halfway around the world, but it's a lot. And that was just going room by room and deciding what was getting donated, what was going in the garage sale, what was being packed up and moved, until we got to the convention totes and went, these ones never got unpacked after we went to the last convention.
And then you immediately contacted Brian. What was Brian's reaction to that? Like, he's probably thinking like everything's gone.
I mean, I'd have to go back through my messages. I don't remember. It's been, it's been 2 years now. I don't remember what the reaction was.
Fair.
I know. I doubt it was a lot of excitement in the context of all the rest
Yeah.
of the collection. And at this point, he'd already been dealing with all of this stuff for a couple of months. But
Yeah, you never intended to steal it, because if you could have stole it, you would have stole it.
I would have.
Yeah, you would have just stole
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you wouldn't be texting, "Hey, we found something," right? So it just seems like it was forgotten inventory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly, BAM is trying to put all the blame on you. Have you seen their most recent? Oh, it's and portray you as a bad store owner. Have you ever had any conflict with BAM before they took your store? Do you think you were partially at fault? Do you think if anyone was aware of the consignment deal ahead of the takeover? Wow, this is a really long question. If so, how long before? If you could go back to the day you were kicked out, would you do anything differently? This is a very long question, but I guess, did you have any conflicts with BAM before they came to take over your store?
No. I mean, nothing that wasn't solved in a conversation. There were issues with the lease, there were issues with the bank, there were issues with the social media, but nothing that didn't indicate that we had a good working relationship. Before that, yeah. No.
If you could go back,
that was a long question. You're gonna have to give it to me in parts.
I'm gonna have to give you 2 parts. Do you think you were partially at fault?
Sorry, Mary, move. I've got a dog on the phone cord or the computer cord. 2 dogs on the computer cord.
Well, you foster dogs, right? The only people with this many dogs must be fostering dogs. And what's it called? A failed?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
These are ours. Yeah, these are. Yeah, we got 2 pup. We had We had a rescue pit bull when Ben and
Mm-hmm.
I got together, that we had to put down a couple years ago. And I've had dogs. I've had rescue. I grew up in the country, with, so many animals around. And I don't do well without having a dog in my living space. People can judge me all you want, but within 2 days of putting down our pit, I was already
Mm,
on Craig's. Like, I was already looking at rescue animals. I can't do it.
mm.
House doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like, yeah, it just doesn't feel right if there's not
No, I
any
got
animals.
you.
So we got two Boston Terrier Border Collie puppies that we rescued, and dumber than a box of rocks. Them. Um, and they look nothing like either a Boston Terrier or a Border Collie, and they have none of the brains of either of those breeds. So it's they're abominations. But then the idea was, let's get an older dog to train the younger
Oh, yeah,
dogs,
yeah.
which is how we ended up with the Husky Wolf mix. It didn't work out that way. It backfired.
Oh,
He has regressed a little bit. Ben made a comment and said that we thought he was really smart, but I think it's just because he looks so
oh,
majestic.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that dog, he gets his head stuck in the garbage can and then will run into his crate with the garbage can lid stuck on his head. And then he'll get stuck in his crate at least every 2 or 3 days.
Oh, wow.
Um, so yeah, so it's a little chaotic always.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I can appreciate
yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, and then you have two cats on top of that. Yeah, on top of
My
the freedom.
daughter has two cats, and they're both 15 or 16 now. So
They're
they're
older.
like
Yeah.
they're senior. Yeah. Yeah. But Havoc thinks the cats, like, Havoc is like, the cats are friends. I want to play with the cats, but he's a 90-pound dog and they are 15-year-old 10-pound cats, so we keep them separate.
Makes sense. Um, do you know? Okay, so you probably answered this question again. Do you know if anyone was aware of the consignment deal ahead of the takeover? Like,
Yeah,
you okay?
absolutely. Yeah, no, corporate knew about it before I signed the agreement. I had a full conversation with Brandon about it, about how we were putting it in the computer system, in the POS, about how we were identifying the sets and the minifigures. And I had a conversation with Kai about it that night as well. Telling him I do not feel comfortable leaving Brian's items here, and him saying, like, no, we're taking over everything. We're taking on that consignment. Yeah, no, they were well aware of it. Well aware.
If you could go back to the day you were kicked out, would you have done anything differently?
Everything.
Everything. Okay.
I would have done everything. Yeah, everything differently. I would have I would have called the police myself. And having seen Ben's interactions with the Kaiser Police Department, I'm pretty sure they would have said, like, this is a civil thing. I would have locked the doors. I would have made Brandon leave. I would have called corporate and said, no, we're gonna set up a time to do this right. I would have called Brian immediately and said, I need you to get here right now. I would have done everything different.
But I think in the mindset at the time, what you didn't have was the knowledge that corporate is this kind of bad. The corporate would ever treat a franchisee this terribly, where they just middle of the night, just goodbye. Like, that's a very bizarre thing to, like, especially when you've been dealing with corporate. They've been kind of nice, letting you, not do training, various other things. You probably are not expecting this type of really harsh treatment.
I believed I was operating. I believed I was operating with ethical business people.
Right. So in hindsight, you didn't know Amon McNeff. You didn't know how they act, and they're illegal. So yeah, in hindsight, we can say, hey, why didn't you, fight back? Or because, like, there was nobody to fight back. You thought corporate was, we found a new buyer, we're going to get paid out, inventory, Brian will get his Legos back or money. Another question about Tattle that was just added, was Tattle your personal pet or more of a store pet? when did you learn Tattle was no longer in the store?
Tattle was a store pet, and I knew back in, a few days after I shared that screenshot. I knew that his cage was no longer in the store when Josh was loading it in the back of the truck. I didn't know couldn't tell whether Tattle was still in the cage or not. But when I saw that happen, I reached out to the non-emergency line and the animal control and said, hey, I have some concerns. I didn't know. There was no follow-up to that. There was no response to them about anything about that. I didn't know about Josh's claim of what happened to Tattle until the rest of the internet knew. I don't remember what interview it was. I don't remember what platform it was. But when
I think it was Almond McNeff was talking about how they gave Tattle to a non-kill shelter.
Yeah. And I didn't know about that. I heard about that along with everybody else.
What do you think what did you personally think happened to Tattle? After, where did he go? Was he released in the wild? And it seems like Josh Johnson is not really a pet person, so that's very concerning. Do you think Tattle, I guess without spoiling anything, we hope Tattle is safe, but his wings are clipped. I mean, I think the most logical conclusion would be Josh just let him out in the wild, right? He was like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. The Animal Humane Society, I have to schedule an appointment. I have to pay a fee, pay a donation. It seems like this is not something Josh Johnson would really be eager to do, right? He's just trying to.
I mean, it was helpful for Ammon to make that statement because now we can ask, like our attorney can ask for that information, and have them actually provide that shelter. If he did do that, there is paperwork. He can say what shelter it was. Our attorney can then request that information from that shelter. I am more than happy to be proven wrong about my suspicions of what happened. Okay. I hope I am. Tattle was less than a year old and raised, like, he was a captivity born parakeet.
Right.
He was like raised in no ability to survive in the wild in Oregon
in late
November.
Yep. And I think
somebody pointed out that birds, like, even if their wings are clipped, they have to be like redone, I guess. Because it can grow back. I don't know the phrasing that they use for it, but I guess they have to be like reclipped. And because he's so young, it's entirely possible that he would then go on to like develop the ability to fly. I know he could at most like flutter around the cage. I don't know. I do know if he was released in the wild in November, it does not bode well unless somebody found him.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. The only chance is somebody actually just found him.
If he was still in the cage when it was dumped off at the dumps, it does not bode well. I genuinely hope that corporate is able to step forward and provide the name of that rescue. I hope they would do that outside of the context of our lawsuit. I hope they would do that just as compassionate human beings.
But
I feel like when you're talking about the welfare of an animal, as decent human beings, you should have a responsibility to verify that. It's easy to say, and Reckless Ben has pointed this out. It's real easy to say, hey, we have this information. We can prove this thing. We have the inventory. We'll give it to you. We have your sets. We'll return them to you.
Yeah.
We know where Tattle was taken. We'll let you know. Do it. Like, nothing is preventing them from doing it.
Yeah, it's not going to end. I mean, if they kill a bird, it's not going to end well for them. Like, like we talk about Legos, or Legos are Legos, right? I mean, Yes, Brian Menzel, but like when you're actually I was saying this to other people. It's like those animal people are like crazy, right? They're crazy for a reason, but they're crazy. And if you really want to like, if it does turn out that Bricks and Minifigs did not give it to a no-kill shelter, which they've been on right. A, it would prove that they have lied, again.
Yeah.
But B,
Yeah.
I think you would introduce a whole new segment of people who would be very anti-Bricks and Minifigs. And that segment of people with pets, people with families, people with pets, I don't think Bricks and Minifigs could survive that type of PR. You're really talking about a lot of families, a lot of pet owners, and I think that could be the breaking point. So hopefully Tattle's okay, but
I hope so.
Yeah, like you said, we hope the best for Tattle. Okay. Question: why stand behind? They legally need to provide us with an inventory. I think I know the answer to this, but at the same time, the standard you held for yourself, you haven't done an inventory in almost 2 months prior to losing the store. I think you just need to be paid out, right? They have to do the inventory, otherwise you have no idea what the...
They have a legally binding contract and a verbal agreement from Kai McAllister on November 14th, guaranteeing that they will perform an inventory.
Yep.
And then we have the right to dispute that inventory and require a third-party inventory. And then if we still can't come to a consensus on it, then the next step within the agreement is supposed to be a freezing of the assets until it can be agreed upon. That is a legal requirement. Now, as for why I didn't do an inventory, I didn't need to do an inventory until the end of the year. Corporate required a full store inventory by December 31st every year from every store. So asking me why I'm holding them responsible for a legally binding contract when I haven't done an inventory that wasn't due for a month and a half.
Right. So no, I understand.
That feels unfair. I wasn't behind doing an inventory. Brian wasn't expecting an inventory until January 31st. Corporate wasn't expecting an inventory until December 31st. Like, I would have started doing a full inventory mid-December to have the one for corporate ready. And then I would have done an entirely new inventory for Brian right before the consignment agreement ended. So the notion that, like, I am somehow equally responsible when it comes to the inventory, I wasn't late doing it. Corporate has violated their own legally binding contract.
It's because of the timeline. Once corporate takes over your store, that's when they they have to do the inventory soon. Yeah. Otherwise, how can they...
Instead of open and operating and selling items the very next morning.
Correct. So how can they not do an inventory when they have to pay you out? Or pay Brian out, or pay... They have... So even before they open to sell, they should actually close for a few days, do the inventory, have a third-party person do it. So I think,
before they sold even a penny of inventory.
No, I agree with that. We
should have had the opportunity to approve that inventory, like, legally.
And the best thing would be if they just invited you back in the store and you guys did the inventory together, you had a representative, or you picked a third party that you both trusted to go into the store and do the... So yeah, it's basically on corporate. Yeah, I agree with that.
Corporate is trying to claim that Brandon was their third party inventory evaluator.
Yes, that they did that with Last Relic too, because he is a company.
Yeah, but on that phone call with Kai McAllister, Kai says, as of tonight, Brandon is the new owner of that store.
Yes.
You cannot... the third-party evaluator is supposed to be a neutral evaluator, not the person that's taking over all the assets.
That's what happened to Last Relic as well in Florida.
Yeah.
Brandon's third-party company was some type of car washing company or something, but it was not connected to Amon. So Almon's like, oh,
Yeah.
but Brandon was the one taking the Lego sets and sending them to Eugene. Or so
Yeah.
I think it's just a lot of again, you don't know what you don't know until they actually do it to you, because you're not thinking,
That's
oh
I'm
shit.
only laughing at when you said that. I'm reminded, like, I can picture Ammon in the CoffeeZilla video
Yeah.
saying that exact phrase, and that always gives me
So
a little giggle.
it's the same thing that happened in the Last Relic. He was playing,
Yeah.
Halo with these guys. These were his best buddies, and then suddenly they put him $500,000 in debt, and he's like, wait,
Yeah.
and he's calling Matt, hey, aren't we like friends? Like, we play
Yeah.
Halo together. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know until they actually like treat you this way that they would ever treat. I mean, it's kind of bizarre, right? He's just playing Halo with these Amin and Matt, and then one
Yeah.
day just they just take over his store, and now he's an employee, and now, oh, by the way, we signed a new lease, but you're still on the hook for the old lease.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty bizarre. Now we'll talk about Reckless Ben. When did Ben first contact you? How many times did you speak prior to part 1 being released?
Prior to part 1, we only spoke once. In that short video clip that you saw in the beginning of part 1. I don't remember exactly when he contacted me, but I believe we had that interview in March of 2025. Yeah, March of 2025. So we
No
had
problem.
that interview. We had a short, I don't know, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, where he just asked me, mostly what you saw in that interview. Just running down what happened that night, and my agreement with Brian and stuff like that.
So
Um,
my understanding was he was pretty neutral, right? He's just trying to like almost like a coffee. He wasn't taking sides
yeah,
at the time. He was just trying to figure
yeah.
out how things. Do you think Bricks and Minifigs and Joss
Yeah.
Brandon are they choosing vulnerable people to sell these franchises to, in hopes of the owners defaulting? I think Ben, your husband, mentioned that there were other people, other stories, other franchisees. Do you think that they were maybe hoping that the franchisees defaulted so they could take them over? Is this something like, I guess, quoting Ben, pattern of behavior that you're seeing now?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think the Last Relic considers himself as part of like a vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that statement from any of the other previous franchise owners I've spoken to. I don't think I would like to classify myself under that description. Um, so I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Fair. Are you aware that Joss stated that he wanted to own 25 to 50 stores? This was according to Amasaurus, who she attended a franchise. Did you know about that? And what are your thoughts about? Because like Amasaurus said, like these should be family run, but now you have a guy who wants to own 50 of them. That would kind of take away from the independent family type of build out.
Yeah. No, I was made aware of that in a message. Again, I don't know how long ago. Yeah, it seems odd. It seems odd that you would I don't understand it. I don't understand how you could accurately and effectively like run and own like that many stores. I don't know that somebody who was doing it for the right reason would have that amount as the number of stores you want. I don't understand it.
Yeah, that's what Amasaurus said too. That she liked the family feel. She liked every store is different. It seemed like he was just going to make a McDonald's chain and just run a bunch of McDonald's.
That's and one of the great things about the Bricks and Minifigs model is that each store is a little bit different, right? They all sit under the same banner, but every store feeds to a different market. Every store has a different customer base. Every store has like a little bit different of a vibe. And it's family, and it's this small community connections that you make that make stores like that what they are. I feel like if you turn it into, you know, a giant conglomerate like that, you lose that. You lose some of the
Yeah.
best aspects.
Are you aware of, so obviously I've seen Ben's video. Are you aware other former owners suing Copper, Plastic Palette, Messer Law, obviously you, Klima? Would you connect with them to be a witness if they asked?
Fremont,
Klima, Klima. I don't,
that one I'm not familiar with.
I'm not either. So I don't know. It's in my question to ask.
Like, I wonder if that's a new one?
It could be a new one. I guess I have to ask Colin. Colin is in chat, but you did know about Messe, the one in California.
I
Do you
heard
know about that?
I did hear about that one, I think along with everybody else.
Yes, and then Cooper
I knew
Plastic.
about Canby. I knew about Canby Plastic Palette.
Yep.
I knew about that one back in 2020,
Okay, so Klima.
2024, 2025. I knew about that one a while ago. I heard about Last Relic. I got a little heads up about Last Relics from Reckless Ben before
Oh,
the
that
video.
might be Klima.
Now.
Might have been Last Relic. I'm guessing they're
Okay.
just saying the
Yeah.
location. Um, what outcome would make you whole? Like, what is the, what are you hoping to, what's the best outcome for you?
I mean, the best outcome for me is I want the value of the store. I want the value of what you owe us for the store. I want that to include either the inventory in the store that is Brian's or compensation for that inventory. I want you to stop lying about me to the entire world.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
you to stop going on Fox News and lying about me. I want you to stop posting blog updates on your website and lying about me. I want you to do what you were supposed to do in the first place and pull my face down from the Salem Bricks and Minifigs social media pages so that I stop getting death threats on pictures of my face. I would like, when I Google my name, one of the first results is not she has a criminal record and she's a thief and a liar and a bad business person. So that every time I go for a future job interview, part of that termination agreement says that I can't even identify myself as a former franchise owner. So they're saying you can't tell anybody that you used to own one of our stores. But at the same time, they're going public and saying she used to own one of our stores, but she's a thief and a liar and a bad business person. And those two cannot coexist. I cannot be expected to be able to work for the next however many years and not be able to defend myself against the slander that they have thrown out there. I need to be able to do that. I need you guys to stop lying about me, and I need to be compensated for what you stole from me and what you stole from Brian. That's it. And I would really, like, at a personal level, like to make sure that you can never ever do this to another store again.
Yeah. So I think I actually probably honest. I don't even think I was joking. I never expected you to get on and talk and you share with on this channel. Because this channel, we have Billy. I don't know if you know Billy. He owns a non-bricks and minifigs franchise. Like, we have some franchisees, like 7 with AJ. We have kind of a different mix of people here. So we have current franchisees of bricks and minifigs. They're quite critical of you, as you can imagine. They're kind of, they're not happy about they're kind of in a bad position, if I had to put it. Yeah. So they're currently in chat.
I understand that. It goes back to the Amanda thing, right? It goes back to, I know what's being said about me by corporate
yes.
in Slack channels. Corporate might think I don't know. The other store owners might think I don't know,
Yes.
but I know. And I have to be careful here. Um,
If you can't
there
say
is
it, yeah.
language, there is language being used that a
Not
good
good.
moral Mormon upstanding family man should not be using
Right.
about anybody, particularly about a woman.
Right.
Um, I know what's being said. I know what the franchise owners are being told. I understand why they may be shifting that animosity and that responsibility onto me.
Yeah, they
I
are.
get
They are. Yes, they are for
I
sure.
get that. Um, my question to you would be, are you asking questions or are you believing what you are being told? And are the people that are telling you information people that have thus far acted in your own best interest? I
Correct.
think
Yep.
anytime you are taking information in any context, you have to ask who is the one giving you that information.
And more to the
Uh,
point, I've always said this: if you've been incredibly transparent with everyone, um, no matter how critical they have been of you in the past and so on, like if somebody
yeah.
had something to
And
hide,
criticism does not bother me. And it's really easy to keep your story straight
yes, it's the same
when it's not a
story.
story,
It's the same story. Yeah, well, it's not
right?
story. It's not story. Yeah, it's the same fact pattern.
Yeah, right?
Right.
It's easy to be transparent when you don't have things to hide.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Have you spoken to a rep from the franchise? I guess they're like trying to unionize or the bricks and minifigs. Apparently, 100 of them exist who don't like the current corporate. They don't like Amon McNeff. They want him to leave. Have you spoke out to any bricks and minifigs current franchise owners who have joined this union? Or I guess it's a union.
I
Yeah.
have not.
Okay.
I have not that I am aware of.
What advice would you give to current franchise owners right now?
I would ask a few more questions. And I would ask for clarification on the validity of the answers that you're getting. I would also like to point out that I am being transparent, and I do know that you are being drawn into a situation that you did not create. I feel particularly bad for the franchises that haven't even opened yet. I
Yes.
understand the vulnerable position that you're in. I understand the investment in time and money you've put into your stores. I understand that it can be really easy to point to Reckless Ben and myself and any other content creator and say, this is a private thing. This should have been between me and corporate, between Brian and corporate. And you are trying to gain attention and, whatever by bringing this. I will just point out that Brian and I both tried to resolve this privately with corporate for over a year, privately. And we got deflection and delay tactics. And if you try to sue us, you'll go bankrupt tactics. So we tried to keep this out of the public light. We tried to resolve this like adults per the franchise agreement. And they used the franchise agreement as a weapon against us.
Yeah.
And if you are a current store owner, I would be looking outside of maybe what you're being told and maybe who you're being told to blame. The person that shines the light often gets caught in the back glare from it. There is a reason the don't punish the messenger
Yeah.
saying is saying, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that you should be considering.
Okay.
Also, my messages are open. There is contact information on every single social media platform that I am on. and you can reach out to me at any time. And I have spoken to multiple former and current franchise owners. I will not share their names. I will not share their information. I won't even share what state they are operating in.
Fair.
I am happy to answer questions that are
Uh,
asked in good faith.
yeah. Have you spoken to M&R Productions? He's vocalized having some tough questions for you guys. Has he asked you to do an interview with them? Have you, I guess, spoken to him at all?
Not at all.
Okay,
He's
not at all.
welcome to reach out.
Yeah. Um, do you have a list of approved vendors? And would you be willing to share that with the community? Or I guess maybe that would probably come out in Discovery anyway.
I mean, I no longer have a list because they were all in individual like Slack channels.
Oh, Slack.
Yeah, I mean, it was, it was, what the Clone Army Customs, right? Brick Arms, Big Kid Bricks, um, you know, a lot of, and they were mostly custom figures, custom sets, that corporate had approved. So we got a kind of a wholesale, a discount on them. I don't know the full list anymore. I don't know who's been brought on in the time that I'm not there, since the time I've been there. I don't have the full list. I do know that every local, like every Bricks and Minifig store, you can walk in and they'll have, you can see who they are because they'll have display models for them.
Okay.
It's not easy to find. It's not easy to find who is working with them, but do not penalize those companies. I want to be really clear. I think every business, particularly every small business, has to decide for themselves, right? And has to operate for their own, their own best interest.
They have family, they have employees. Their employees have family.
Exactly.
I've run something where it's
They
like,
do have contracts.
yeah, I get it. Okay, so a few more questions. What did the store mean to you, your family, your community, your livelihood?
I mean, it was everything.
Yeah,
It was,
like,
there was a point. There was a point where I was working 7 days a week, because we were short staffed. It was everything. It was my community. It's not just a monetary investment when you go into something like that. There is there's an emotional aspect to it that.
So they say
Sorry.
that your first business is your baby. They say it's like having another kid.
It goes multi-factor, kind of deeper than that. I'm going to try not to cry because I have this whole thing about I don't want to cry in public and I don't want to vomit in public. That's why I don't do roller coasters. I was raised in an upper middle class family, that I don't speak to anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of reasons, but I dealt with some childhood abuse, a lot of childhood trauma, and I got pregnant when I was 19. And I'm sure there are other young single mothers or parents out here who understand the financial impact of that. So I struggled. I struggled to pay the rent and put food on the table for 20 years, right? And there's a moment when, like, when I first approached of purchasing the store, the notion of being able to have something to call my own, for the first time after working, minimum wage jobs and then working my way up to management positions, and finally reaching a point where, like, it wasn't how am I going to pay all of the bills together every month. there is an emotional aspect of having the thing that you can call your own. And that to me was a kind of a validation when you spend your life knowing that all of your effort is going to somebody else to profit somebody else. There is a sense of like that's its own sense of accomplishment, right?
Right.
And I acknowledge the privilege without having met my husband and without having, going from a single parent, single income household to a two income household makes a massive difference. Um, and I acknowledge the privilege that that put me in to be able to then go and have this thing that was my own. And so there's this emotional tie to it that it didn't matter if I was working 10 or 12 or 14-hour days. I was doing it for myself.
Right.
I was doing it for my community. And that for me was it's a hard thing about then going back because I'm working in retail management again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working, yesterday was a 13-hour day for me.
Yeah.
And I'm back. So then all of this comes up and it's a reminder of losing where I had gotten to. You reach the goal, right? You reach what you believe is going to be the glass ceiling. And this is all a reminder of what I've lost when it comes to that. And then there's the other side of that is Lego is well documented and they've done studies of the benefits of building with Lego for neurodivergent kids and adults. I mean, they've done studies when it comes to Alzheimer's patients and when it comes to dexterity and memory and all of that. But I have ADHD and I am autistic, and that is a part of me, right? That's anybody who is also neurodivergent knows that comes with its own criticisms and it comes with its own traumas growing up, right? Of being othered and different. And so being able to create a place that I owned, that was my own, that could be welcoming and could have other kids that were like me come in and feel welcome and feel at home and be able to have fun. And best parts of my days were when the kids came in and wanted to tell me an hour-long story about their favorite Lego set or what they're currently building, right? And that's yes, absolutely, right? There's this joke about like, what's your favorite dinosaur, right? And no, I absolutely want you to tell me all about your favorite dinosaur because I love that. And so outside of everything else, it's a part of my identity that they took away. Yeah. And it's a part of what I spent 40 years building towards, 45 years building towards, that they took away. And not only did they take it away, but they manipulated it and twisted it and exposed something fundamentally rotten at its base. And then they tainted everything that I had done in my time there. And that is like, not only is it heartbreaking, but it's infuriating.
Yeah. No, I know what you because I had a few businesses of my own, just two, and I understand like it's everything. It's everything. It's every part of you. It's what you want. I think I have a far better understanding of the community part because it's really like there are some people I've dealt with who talk about community, but they don't really believe it. They're talking about it from advertisement. They're talking about it from the standpoint of, oh, well, help me promote more. And I see this a lot in Pokemon cards, especially where, but like if you actually care about the community, you want kids to come in, spend 1 hour talking. You're not making money during that 1 hour. It's you're spending. It's the 1 hour that's actually overtime because you're going to work more than 8 hours. So
But it's making a fundamental memory in that kid's life,
exactly.
right?
So
That's
I think that part I really didn't quite grasp, because in certain communities like Pokemon cards, you have a lot of scalpers, you have a lot of resellers, you have a lot of people who are not in the community for the right reasons. They're not going to spend 1 hour talking to dinosaurs about kids.
yeah,
Buy the
yeah,
card and move on. Buy the card and move on. You know, I got to flip.
yeah,
Right? They're the ones standing
yeah,
in like Target and like, you know, they're trying fighting each other. I'm sure
yeah,
you've seen some. So I think, but when I go back to like when I first opened my store, it was really about community. It was talking about, we have people who come in and they just talk. Like they just talk and talk and
yeah.
talk.
Oh
And
yeah.
because then you ask like, do you have anyone else to talk? No, my wife hates this hobby, and my wife
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
play Magic, and my kids
Absolutely.
hate it.
Yeah.
And I've been trying, so I just come
Yeah.
here to talk with you, and
Yeah.
I think
Oh yeah.
I have become kind of jaded as well. So like whenever I see somebody talk about community, I'm like, is it really about community? Because I now do Pokemon cards, and it's like, okay, 95% of you guys actually don't give a shit about community. You're not going
Yeah.
to spend 1 hour talking about dinosaurs to a kid, because in 1 hour you're thinking, oh, I can flip. It's really refreshing to learn about your backstory. And I think there are still good people in the community. There are still good people who are trying to make kids and memories for kids. And maybe it's not every dollar. Maybe they're not getting every dollar, every cent, every possible flip they could
Yeah.
be making, but and honestly, like maybe they're not. A lot of times when I see this stuff online, the reason I'm so jaded is it'll get 1 million views, right? This guy's gonna give this card to this kid, but he's recording the whole time, right? There's like 20 different camera angles, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, cool. And then you see these things, and there's like, oh, I'm gonna give this great card to the kid, but like what you have described, you never recorded any of this stuff. This was the honest, like, why you wanted to start a business, why owning a business. Like, even I thought, okay, I can just give a bunch of cards to kids and I'll just record it all and I'll post it on YouTube and get lots of likes and views and ad revenue. But I think I'm so jaded as well, so that I can't really see that there are people who want to help the community. I think that's so my perspective, and why I think I was so critical is that my perspective is like, are there really people left
Yeah.
that were like back in 2014 when Pokemon cards were like it was like buy one get one free. I remember like
Yeah.
Legos too. It was 99 cents in every
Yeah.
Walmart. Like massive sales on
Right.
Legos, right? And
Yeah.
that was the real community to me, because those people didn't care about prices. Things were just on sale all the time. We weren't even
Yeah.
able to sell for MSRP. And I kind of remember those days, and I'm just like, and that was the real community. No one's making money. Like, we're not making oodles and goodles of money, right? Like, now today in Pokemon, it's like, wow, this is a $20,000 card. This is a $10,000 card. And now I think I got very jaded, because when I think about it, like, it's like, not that Lego's this way, but Pokemon's this way. It's all about money. You
I
have
mean,
you have kids
there's
walking around with hundreds, like kids, I'm talking about like 7-year-olds with hundreds of thousands of dollars of cards in their thing, and you're just like, you just kind of forget like what it's about. But
how it started.
yeah, how it
I mean,
started.
there's definitely like there's an aspect of Lego collection that has reached that. I'm not going to deny there is a you see it a lot when like new exclusives come out, right? Where they get bought in bulk all at once and then they end up on the resale market.
Or like
It's
Cloud City. So when you're talking about
yeah,
layaway, I'm just thinking, oh, just flip the thing, just flip it, right? That's what M&R
right. Yeah.
Productions did. He just goes on
Yeah.
whatnot, and then it's all gone, right? And so
If the first thing that you want to do is profit for yourself, right?
yes, there's profit to
But
be had.
that's the point. Is do you operate on, and maybe this is a criticism on me where I'm operating on a community basis, right? The best thing for my customers versus the most profit.
Correct.
And
And
like I could have changed things if Brian had an issue. We could have changed how we did things, but like it was working. One of my you know, I completely get what you're saying with the community, because the word does, like, it gets thrown around
Everyone
and it
says
gets,
community, right? And then it's
yeah,
a scalper selling it you for 2 times what he bought
right.
from the vending. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was.
I mean, for my store in particular, our customer base were almost entirely like it was either brand new to Lego, right? Just discovering it. It was Lego collectors,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
then and every once in a while you have the grandparent coming in and going, right? Like it's their birthday, I have no idea what to buy them.
Yeah.
And you know, that was what was nice about having that brick and mortar, is that the people that were coming in there were people that were coming in there because of because of Lego,
Yeah.
right?
That's
And
great.
then being able to be in a store like that, where yeah, absolutely, I can take a half an hour to talk mock that you're doing.
Mm.
That's like that's awesome. Yeah, show me. We had one customer that used to bring in his mocks every couple of weeks just because he wanted to show them off, right? He didn't really
Yeah.
buy anything from us, but he would come in and show them. One of my, for me, it's the personal connections that I miss the most.
Yeah.
One of my
So
favorite
yeah.
one of my favorite customers was about 7 years old, and I got to know him and his family really well. His parents had adopted him, and like he's autistic and was nonverbal for years. And then he got into Lego, and this kid would come in and was an encyclopedia of Lego knowledge. Like you could ask him about a theme and he could break down what year the theme came out and every set that came. He could
That's
name a
awesome.
figure like he had a photographic Lego memory. I would show him a piece and I'd be like, I'm trying to identify this piece. He'd be like, oh yeah, that's from like it's amazing. And he would come in and just he would go back and forth between either like he would either be like old Western and Castle would be his current focus, or Star Wars would be his current, and he'd
Oh,
go
of
back and
course.
forth. Um, and so he would come in and just, for an hour want to talk about the thing.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, his parents were like, sorry, because parents are always I've noticed there's a trend with parents of neurodivergent kids. There's this need to apologize, right? Of I'm so sorry. Oh, honey, she doesn't really care. I'm like, no, I do. Please tell me about this. Right.
Oh.
And then the comfort of that. So he would just talk for hours about what he was working on. And one of the best compliments I ever got was from his mom, who was like, woke up this morning and said, because I wouldn't be there most weekends, and she would be like, this morning and said, Mom, it's Monday. Crystal's at work. Let's go. And I was just like, oh, like
Yeah.
he was
It's
one of my favorite people. Just absolutely and that's the worst parts about how corporate did this. Take out all the legal, all the financial, all that other stuff, right? Is had no chance to say goodbye, right, to any of those customers.
yeah.
Had I had that 30 days, I would have thrown a goodbye party, right? We would have had an event over a weekend, something like that. Like I would have had the chance. Instead, I have kicked out overnight, and then I'm hearing from other customers saying, "Oh yeah, we came in and Josh said you were using it as a heroin front, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
we
That's
left."
crazy. Yeah. The
And I'm
heroin
like,
thing.
you fuckers took my customer base and told them all I was on heroin and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
fled.
And you thought that would help you in the future.
Didn't buy,
You
didn't
thought they
need
would
it.
continue to buy from you. Yeah. No, I understand.
I
Like
have never done, nor sold, nor distributed,
yeah.
nor made heroin.
Yeah, it's gonna sound crazy when I say this, but yeah, once upon a time it was about community because there was no profit. Like there was no money to be made in Pokemon cards at all. So all you had was community coming in, supporting, buying, talking, hanging out, right? Like but I think I've forgotten about those days because it's like now
Yeah.
now now so much stuff is about you can see that from my criticisms. They're really focused on why don't you make the maximal profit possible? and sell as quickly as
I mean,
possible.
that's a uniquely American
Yep.
thing. We spent the last year living in Spain. We moved. We tried to move. That when you have to pay lawyers and you have to go through this protracted legal battle,
Yep.
you can't actually afford to make that move permanent the way we had intended. Um,
Yeah.
but like we spent the last year living in Spain, living in the EU, and this notion that everything has to be about the maximum profit.
Yes.
One of our biggest shocking, like the biggest culture shock of living there is, I'm sorry, you're telling me I can get a monthly Metro Pass that can get me everywhere in Spain for $12 a month? Like that can get me everywhere, unlimited. I'm sorry, I'm working a part-time job teaching English as a second language, and you're giving me 33 paid days off a month,
That's
not
awesome.
counting the 22 holidays, right? I'm paying $60 a month for 3 people to have health insurance, and it fully covers everything. I'm getting my Concerta that back in the US would be $400 out of pocket. I'm paying nothing for it. Like the the idea that everything should be for the maximum amount of profit is like a uniquely American creation. And this is a soapbox that like you don't want me to get on because Ben and I have had these conversations before. It's very much tied to, we tie finance and we tie work with morality, right?
Correct.
This is why we hear, why
The
should my tax dollars go for food stamps? Why
Yeah.
should my tax dollars go to the homeless? Why should my tax dollars go towards welfare, towards childcare for children? Why should it go to any program that works at improving the life of somebody who I see morally below me? Because we look at poverty and we look at disability as a moral failing, whereas other socialist countries around the world, over 100 of them, look at what is best for the country as opposed to what is best for 5 billionaires.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is a cultural responsibility to take care of those who cannot take care of themselves, which is a uniquely human trait that we as a culture, that's how it used to be, right? There are studies going back to, you know, prehistoric man. There was one in which they found they found the bones of a person who had broken their leg
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I
had
remember.
their
Yeah.
leg, right? You don't set somebody's broken leg if you operate under the belief that because they can no longer produce, they are no longer of value. So this idea that everything has to be for profit is a notion that we have created within the US, that that's the same. It goes back to the same point I tell the other franchise owners. Look at who is telling you what to believe, right? Look at who in our country is telling us, no, you have to work 40 hours a week. No, we can't provide health care. No, we can't provide paid vacation. No, we can't provide maternity leave. Like, look at who profits from telling you what you need and what you don't deserve. That's
No, that's very fair. That's really good points to point out, and I agree with everything you said. It's just really easy to get in the mindset of profit, like everyone else is doing it. Yeah, at one point in time, I opened my Pokemon store. We weren't making any. We just paycheck by paycheck, and Pokemon cards were not popular in 2014, but
yeah.
people still collected them. People still had fun. People played the game. Okay, so
And then it turns into something. It turns
yeah,
into it turns into something that becomes monetized, becomes capitalized.
yeah,
Um, and that's how we've seen that happen time and time and time again, right? Um, Video store businesses went out of business, and now we see streaming platforms able to set their own prices. Uh, you see, Ticketmaster taking a monopoly and then being
yeah,
able to set their own prices. You see it like over and over and
yeah.
over and over again, um, which is unfortunate that
I feel like we're at a point in time where you can take just about anything that people love and will invest emotionally or monetarily in,
Yeah,
and
private equity, right? Private equity,
right,
just no useful
squeeze
purpose.
every
Just
ounce you can get out of it.
yep,
Yeah.
just want to resell it for more money, right? Okay, so we're at community questions. We're almost done. Thank you so much for your time. Um,
I did go off on a tangent. I'm
no, it was a good
yeah.
tangent because it shows me that you actually do believe in community. Like, I'm always very skeptical nowadays when people tell me about community, and then like, oh, well, there's like now there's like 5 different camera angles, and I gave this really expensive card to the kid,
Yeah.
and it's got 1 million views, and the AdSense alone, I know on 1 million views is probably more money than a card. Or specifically like, hey, you, my community, donate money to give this kid the card. So that's what's
Yeah.
really popular. Or a trade up challenge where the kid is like, has like a $5 card, and he comes to you and he wants a $100 card, and it really is his dad in the background. The thumbs up.
Yeah.
The kid had no idea about Pokemon. He doesn't care anything. He's
Yeah.
just being told by his dad that I can do the trade up challenge because I'm young. I'm a kid.
Yeah.
And perhaps a
Yeah.
vendor. So like, there's so many things like I am now like skeptical of that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. From Alex, the fiction. Which nickname do you find better for Ben Gorman? He's been called Spiky
No,
Ben
don't ask me this.
and Horny Ben. And
Okay. If you ask Ben,
okay, what
he
name
said,
that Ben would want to be called? Yeah.
I asked him that. I saw this on Reddit.
Yeah.
I asked him. He said, well, I mean, technically I do call them my horns.
Okay.
And I told him, given the current situation that we find ourselves in, perhaps going by Horny Ben might not be the best,
Okay.
might not be the best look right now. He disagreed.
Oh, so he wants to be called
so-
Horny Ben. Okay. So I mean, he likes it.
I feel like it's better than I can see him through the screen door laughing, and I bet you he's watching this right now and jumping in the chat. I would not be surprised.
If he wants to be called Horny Ben. Yeah, that's a cool nickname.
Either he's watching something else because he just got up. Either that or he's watching something else in which I'm gonna have to give him crap for not watching me. We'll see. I can still see him typing, so we'll see what happens
Okay,
here.
we'll see. Yeah.
I feel like it's better than like Bald Ben.
Oh, they call him Bald Ben. Okay. I've not heard that one.
Well, at the school he used to teach, there were two Bens, and so it was Old Ben and Young Ben, and he was
Okay,
Old
it was
Ben,
Old
so
Ben.
he probably prefers like Horny Ben over Old Ben.
Okay, it's better. Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
probably
go
better
for
than
you.
that. Yeah,
He's in-
it's probably better than that one.
now.
Okay.
Hi.
Justice for Tattle says, what was the date of the security cam photo of the truck with the bird cage loaded in it?
Give me a moment. I can actually pull that up. So Brandon that night went down and pulled up. So there were two. I'm gonna fill the silence as I look for that picture. There were two various sets of security in the store. There was the Lorax hardwired security system that corporate put in and corporate maintained control of. Like I had the passwords to get in, but they only did video, and they were like actually hardwired in and couldn't be moved. And then as we would have break-ins, I would figure out like blind spots or like security weaknesses and go buy more Ring cameras. Because I felt like the Ring cameras, it would actually like trigger an alarm. It would send the police out if something happened in the middle of the night. The recording options were better than Lorax, and just like as an interface, it was easier to use, and I would have full control over it. And so I would just like keep adding more. So you see the one where I'm having the conversation with Brandon and Kai is behind the cash register.
Yeah.
And then there was one over by the bulk table where you can see the U-Haul. So we had them like all over. Most of them were outside aiming for the parking lot though. because when we would have break-ins, we'd try to catch it as soon as a car would come into the parking lot. So Brandon pulled down almost all of the security cameras that night, except for one that was right above one of the outside doors aimed at the dumpster. Particular, like we would have people come in the middle of the night and like dig through the dumpster, and it was a blind spot. So one was aimed right at them. So that camera stayed up the longest. And so I have we'll see if you can see it. I think I'm going to have to turn my brightness down a little bit. Otherwise you're going to get some reflection. I can actually show you that is the picture that you're talking about.
Yes, that is.
And then it's backwards, but November 21st, 2024.
2:50 p.m.
2:50 p.m. That is, I believe that is when that was, or it was, I believe that was it, because the 2:50 p.m. like it lines up with the time.
The ring, yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
It lines up with the time that Ring assigns it as. It would be kind of straining credibility to believe that I managed to take a screenshot of the picture at the exact same time that the original picture took place. So like that's when I took that screenshot. But because of where that camera was placed, it didn't pick up like anything else. It was outside of view of the second set of doors. Because of the angle, it would really only capture any movement from, I can actually tell you why it captured this specific. It was set to capture, I don't know how many people are familiar with Ring cameras, but you can set a zone. So you can say, I only want you to notify me of movement in this period, this frame. So that one was set to pick up the dumpster. So it was set to block out anything else because there were other cameras that caught that. And we wanted it focused on where the dumpster was and what used to be an alleyway on the other side of the business. But at one point, the landlord like put up a gate there. So the reason why it got picked up, that clip even got picked up, is because one of them, I think it was Amanda, had gone out and thrown a bag in the garbage can. And so it had picked that up. And then I was able to zoom in and see, because I wasn't actually watching it.
Yeah.
So then I was able to zoom in and see the truck there and grab that screenshot.
Okay, makes sense. Were there, a Nailhead says, were there any significant changes to the layout or design of the store after you were evicted?
Oh, yeah. Helpfully enough, there is a person on Google reviews, on the Google Maps reviews, who posted a whole like video and a bunch of pictures. Her name is coincidentally Amanda.
Different Amanda.
On that, you can actually see how everything has moved. And there were a couple other customers that went in and took pictures or posted videos, and they're all publicly available on the Google reviews, which I have screenshotted and screen recorded copies of all of those. So if they disappear, it's fine. We still have them. That show not only how the store was restructured, but show you can line them up with the pictures and videos that I took that night and the previous social media posts, and actually line up. Okay, these are display cases that belong to me. Here are tables that belong to me. Here's the Brick Fan license plate that was a Legoland exclusive that belonged to me. Here's the Brick Saber and the 3D printed Lego minifigs that belong to me. Here's all of the stuff. So it's really helpful for them to share those images online.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Infexus says, please tell Crystal a lot of us are on her side, despite some who may be negative. So that wasn't a question. It was just somebody.
I appreciate that.
Super chatted.
There's always going to be. I appreciate the support. I kind of allow the bad faith criticism and the kind of the regurgitation of BAM's talking points to roll off as much as I can. There are a few that bother me, but that
Ben has pointed out to me, my husband Ben, I should call him Benjamin, but that feels weird.
Well, they were saying
and-
Ode Ben is actually Star Wars, right? Ode Ben. So
Uh-huh.
maybe that's
Yeah.
that's the better.
Oh, we're already real familiar with the Gorman's reference, and so that's that's already a little uncomfortable. We don't want too many Star Wars parallels here.
Okay.
But like he's pointed out that people are always going to find reasons to dislike you.
Oh, yes.
And I'd rather be genuinely myself and have you dislike me for things that are actually like me. He laughs because generally I operate under a like, if you don't know me, your opinion of me is kind of irrelevant.
Yes.
If you don't like me for whatever reason, it has nothing to do with me because you don't know who I am, right? There have been a few. He laughs at me at one particular. He knows that I could see him outside. He knows what I'm about. There's a delay, so I think there's actually a delay.
Yeah, I think Benjamin. I think he's in chat. Justice for Gorman. Yeah, yeah. I think he's in chat. Yeah, he's in chat right now. There is a delay.
So there's a little bit of a delay, but there was one insult in particular where somebody was like, there were two actually. One of them might be the greatest compliments / insults I've ever received in my life that still makes me laugh. But one of them was like, I can't stand her because she talks like a valley girl.
Yes, I've
And
seen that
listen,
one. Yes, I've seen that one.
I've never had that particular anxiety, but like, thanks. Now I guess I do. I don't like that. I don't think I do. I hope not. God knows I don't like the sound of my own voice because it doesn't sound on video the same way it sounds in my head.
Oh yeah, same for mine.
Great. Yeah. But no, the other one was some guy saying, like, I support you, but I don't think I would, and I would be friends with you, but I commend your husband because I wouldn't want to be married to you. I was just like, bro, like I get what you're saying, like thanks, but also
no, yeah, I support you, but it's much nastier. Yeah, it's much nastier than the I support you part when but yeah, I get that a lot too.
There was a comment on Echo Base's live last night that was just like, sorry, I got to apologize for Echo Base for turning the comment section into a little bit of drama right there. Because like, I'm gonna say it for the record. If y'all are having masturbatory fantasies about me, I don't need to know about it.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to send me a message. You don't need to go on a live. You don't need to leave a comment.
Oh, yeah.
It's better if you just keep that to yourself.
Yeah, I kind of go at chat a lot because sometimes like the stuff they say are like, man, it's like nobody needs to know that. And even if they did need to know that, you don't have to repeat it like 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
Just so like, it appears on chat.
I'm just like, I don't.
Yeah, I think you guys have dealt with it pretty well. 2 more questions. Can we see the dogs? I think we saw one of them. All right.
Y'all might regret this. Hold on. Let's see. Mary, come here. Come here.
Oh yeah, we saw Mary. Right. Mary?
Mary.
Oh, I think we've seen Mary before. She's been. Oh.
Come here. He's like, I can't figure out how to get. Come here, Pippin.
Oh, that's the. Which one's this?
Pippin.
Pippin. So they're the brothers. They're the ones that adopt the rescue at the same time. Brother and sister.
They're about 2.5 years old now. Well, they'll be 3 in September. These are our hobbits, Mary and Pippin.
Oh, Mary and Pippin. Yeah, that makes sense. Mary and Pippin. Yeah.
There was some debate on whether they were going to be hobbits. Ben had voted for Luke and Leia, but I kind of feel like no judgment, but I feel like that's maybe a little overdone with sibling pets these days. My vote was for Spike and Gizmo, but I was outvoted on that one.
Oh.
Okay, guys, get down. Go on. And then there's one more.
The Siberian Husky. Yeah, the Husky blend.
Havoc. Come here.
Oh, what's the Husky's name? Oh, he's huge.
And
And this one's Havoc.
Oh, Havoc.
Ready?
Oh, okay.
And this one's Havoc.
Oh, it's very
And
cute.
today is his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Havoc.
5 years old today.
Oh,
It's his birthday.
it's very cute. Yeah, all 3 dogs are very cute. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Happy
learned,
birthday, Havoc.
I learned a fascinating fact about dogs that when they evolve from wolves, one of the things that they learned how to do is to move their eyebrows. So like wild wolves, wild dogs won't like they can't move their eyebrows to make those kind of human
Yeah,
facial
the human
expressions.
human, you know.
Yeah. But when dogs were domesticated, they learned how to do that to make them like less terrifying.
Yeah.
Which tracks, sorry. When he jumped up, he knocked my soda over. So
Oh.
that's okay. Pippin's down there drinking it. And somebody in the chat, I gotta get off my computer before they absolutely do cause chaos.
As they do now, yes.
And pretend like they don't realize they've done it. So
Oh.
they have earned their namesakes and now they are no, it's okay. I got it. I'm mopping it up with the blanket.
Sorry to the folks in the chat. Can't chat and mop up soda.
I mean,
Oh,
I
that's
did
bad,
warn
yeah.
you if you wanted to see the dogs, you
Oh
were
yeah.
gonna
No,
you were
no.
gonna-
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
huge. He's huge.
Oh yeah, he's about 90 pounds. I have some videos on my Facebook on the various social media. I don't accept friend requests on Facebook because
Yeah, of course. It's a little it's a little dangerous.
well, it's friends and family.
Yeah.
But he's really interesting. He lopes like a wolf. When he runs, he lopes.
Wow.
And you see him like if his face showed up like in the middle of a forest, like I'd crap myself. I'd be terrified. But he is afraid of everything. Absolutely everything.
Oh.
He is the biggest the only thing he's not afraid of are other dogs.
Okay.
Like he's scared by a leaf. Like he is the biggest baby. It's down here. I told you I already mopped it up. I got it with the blanket.
Okay.
That's okay. He also he also is just like there's hair. It's just hair. It never ends. It's
Is there
constant.
anything else you feel like we missed and you would like to touch on? I think you have a GoFundMe.
We do have a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we missed? Let me find the GoFundMe. Do you know what's it called? It's like I have it pulled up. Oh, they took our Lego stores.
Yeah.
So how's the GoFundMe going? Are you able to get money out? I know sometimes it may be difficult.
Yeah. So we had some issues. In the very beginning with like people were mass reporting it, and so it would get paused and we'd have to go through. GoFundMe was pretty great about like actually it took a few weeks, but they got that resolved. So we have been able to
Let's know the legal expenses.
yeah, our attorney is very happy because we've been able to pay her.
So
And
you
now
have
we're
been
looking
able
at-
you have been able to take money
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like now we're looking at, we'll have to hire a forensic accountant, and then we've got to look into hiring somebody that can actually do like the financial accounting of what we financially lost between the store and all of that other stuff. And
Yeah.
so like it's a huge weight off of us to have that amount of support. It was well beyond anything we were ever like. I remember the first week we earned like $130, and I was like, oh, this is insane. I can't believe people are donating this. This is amazing. And then to have reached where it's reached is beyond our
That's awesome.
wildest expectations.
So yeah, as long
we
as you guys can get
appreciate-
money out of there. So I have it pulled up. I'm trying to make a donation right now. Not like a huge, it's a $100 donation. You guys are close to 90,000, but as long as you guys, because I've heard that like sometimes they like freeze your account and it's hard to take money out.
Well, and they did at the beginning. We got like, so we talked to Reckless Ben because we knew he was going to do the GoFundMe for Brian, and we knew that we needed one for legal expenses. And And so we had talked with him and knew that we were going to wait for
The legal is crazy. I don't think people know how expensive legal is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's I mean, at the time we put up the GoFundMe, we're paying out about $30,000 to our lawyer every couple of months. And we haven't even had we've had one virtual meeting with corporate in that time. It's yeah. But we wanted to make sure that like Brian's GoFundMe got up and gained traction before we even made any attempt on that, because our focus was like, yes, we want to hold corporate accountable and get what we feel like we are owed, but also Brian is the innocent victim in a dispute between myself and corporate, right? He got caught in the middle of that. And so we wanted to make sure that he got the most eyes, the early eyes on that, which that's been amazing for him. But yeah, no, we had some issues in the very beginning with GoFundMe, and it took a little while, and it was frustrating at first, but we I feel like we finally got it settled, and they've been pretty consistent, so they're going, yeah. Our lawyer is happy about that.
So GoFundMe is the best way to support you guys right now. It's
GoFundMe, if you don't feel comfortable, like I get it. I get there are people that either think I'm equally in the wrong or hiding something or responsible or just don't, for whatever reason, or people that can't afford it or people that just don't want to do things like that. Even just like sharing it is really helpful. I will also, like, if you want to support in a different way, we also own a small publishing press. And Ben, Not a Pipe Store. We publish books. Like Ben is a published author. I am technically a published author, but it feels weird to say that because I wrote the intro in a book. But we also have merch on there. And support through that is amazing, and you can always reach out, and I'm happy to send a discount code. We also have I brought it. Somebody in the comments words, but
awesome. Yeah, I saw Ben wear that in the brick world or
okay. Don't want to know how you can support me, and this is purely ask anybody who has ADHD and they will tell you spite is a motivator. It's how I get a lot of stuff done. But I design 99.9% of the designs on our store. Ben designed this one, and I am so mad because this has become our best-selling design, and like it's really cool, and I'm really happy about that. But like nobody has ordered the I Am Not Amanda shirt.
Oh, okay. I'm not. Yes, because they're not Amanda. Yeah, they don't. Yeah. That's kind of a restrictive niche. Yeah. The U-Haul is more generic.
It was mostly just for like myself. Like it's a little right, but there's also a contact link on the Not a Pipe store.
How about Justice for Tattle? I would definitely order one of those.
So there's also somebody that was like, I don't wear cotton t-shirts. I can design mugs, tote bags, hats, stickers. There's a contact link on the it's notapipestore.com, or in any of my social medias, there's a link tree on all of my accounts. If you send an email, if you send a message,
what is the store again? What's a website for the store?
So it's Not a Pipe Store.
Saying it too fast. Not
NOTAPIPE STORE.
Oh, okay.
.com. Yeah.
Oh, I see it. I see it. Unisex clothing. You have some pets.
Yeah. All of our books are on there too.
Oh, yeah, the bestseller here.
But if you were like, I love this design, but could you put it on this thing? I can create that item. If you think that there's like a Justice for Tattle, that's actually really great. One of the things that I have been accused of doing is trying to like monetize for my own self-gain. The notoriety of what Ben and Brian did. And
that's like I think a more pessimistic, like we'd been fighting corporate for over a year silently, and they're finally shining a light, and we're taking our moment to make sure that we hold them accountable,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But doing things like a brick by brick shirt or a Justice for Tattle shirt, I've been a little bit hesitant because of that accusation of, right? Like YouTubers
Right.
get that too, of like you're just jumping on for clout, right? We did the I'm Not Amanda shirt and the Schrodinger's U-Haul shirt. That was really a spur of the moment when we decided to go to Brick World. Somebody I was talking to, I was talking to a YouTuber, and he was like, it would be really funny if you did this. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I've got to do that. So like we've got a ton of stuff on there. If you see a design but it's not offered on the item that you want, just like send a message. That's awesome. We love that. You could always send me a message and I can send you a coupon code. That's totally cool.
That's awesome.
But like also if you're local to, so we're in Portland, Oregon. If you are local, Not a Pipe will have a booth at the Portland Pride Festival this weekend. I'm actually supposed to be like, I worked a 13-hour shift yesterday, and then I have the next 4 days off. So we're actually supposed to be like getting everything over to the park to get it all set up and stuff for the festival on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
But we'll be
Booth number 9. Come see us.
and says booth
Oh, yeah.
number 9.
Booth number 9.
So we'll be at the Portland Pride Festival this weekend.
Portland Pride Festival. Yeah. Booth number 9.
Yeah. Waterfront Park, Tom McCall Park. So if you want to come see us, we'll be there. Yeah, that's for anybody that's in the area. But no, the support has been amazing, and it also feels like really weird to be like, here's how you can support. I don't know. That feels for somebody who's unused to ask and uncomfortable for asking with help with stuff. It's weird, but like we appreciate it.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Somebody said I should buy Barbecue Counselor an apron, and
yeah, no, they want me
like
to buy
that might
him.
be a reference I don't understand.
Oh, no.
He does the lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
you've probably seen him before. His videos have gone like
I've
crazy.
seen him,
BBQ
but
Council over there.
Does he not have an apron?
No, he has one. We're just trying to get him like a collection of them.
Oh, okay.
We saw
Somebody
one.
just went online and made an online order right now. So whoever that was, thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I definitely made a donation, but I don't see it popping up. I might not have.
Oh no, somebody made an order at our online
I was
store.
talking about the
I get the notifications for it.
the GoFundMe. So hopefully you guys get that later.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know why it takes so
will-
long.
I will check the GoFundMe.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I don't know why it takes so long. Maybe it's like they will like click on like not a don't put your name on it. I really have no idea like where the money comes from or goes. And
I mean, I know they make you go through all the terms and service.
Yeah.
And I know it takes a little bit of time. It takes a few days for like the funds to be released from whatever payment method you're
yeah,
using.
probably
to
yeah.
GoFundMe, and then time for GoFundMe to then send it to your bank. And so there's, a week or two depending on the banks.
Oh wow.
But,
Okay, so it does take quite a bit of time.
yeah, but I mean, I can see on the back end everything that's been donated versus everything that's being processed versus everything that's being paid out.
Okay.
And then GoFundMe will automatically. So essentially, when you set up a GoFundMe, you take the amount that you're trying to earn and you put that into your fundraiser. So we went off of, here's the amount that everybody told us it was going to cost us. Here's the amount that our lawyer estimated it was going to cost us. And then GoFundMe takes that. So, and I've seen people ask this question. GoFundMe will like automatically increase the goal.
Yep.
It'll step up based on what you're raising. Because I guess there's some psychology behind if you're trying to raise $200,000 for something, and people look at that and go, they've raised $50, they're not going to reach their goal. It will like discourage people from donating, is their thinking behind that. So I know some people were confused about like how both ours and Brian's GoFundMe like keeps changing the numbers. And
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know.
I don't know GoFundMe's
I
algorithm
don't,
behind that.
yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, they're like, how much do you want to raise? And then they take care of setting those goals.
Yeah. Yeah. So donate to Crystal, and they're going to need the money. People don't understand how expensive lawyers are. Thank you for taking the time. You know, like it's over 2.5 hours. Thank you for taking the time. And you know, good luck with everything else. If you know we don't talk before then. And you know, enjoy.
Well, and thank you for. Sorry, I was going to say
ahead,
thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience and actually like being able to get me on. Because I know we'd originally talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It's just one of those. My work schedule is really weird. Trying to, I learned my lesson with the CoffeeZilla video.
Yep.
Because it kind of felt like it's one of those where he's like, "Are you available at this time?" And you kind of can't be like, "No."
Yes,
right?
It's CoffeeZilla.
So
it's CoffeeZilla. Yeah.
I would get off work at 9:30, have a half an hour drive home, and jump on a meeting with him at like 10:05 p.m.
I know that. Echo Base Location. They were on at like 2 a.m. with you, like their time. Yeah.
Well, and that's because I'm like, I'm not off work until. I'm not usually off work until 9:15, 9:30, or I'm going to work at 9:30 in the morning. So I either have to do it, early, and we're, Pacific time. So finding a day where I'm actually like off work and not scrambling either to or from is really nice.
Well,
so I appreciate it.
Well, enjoy the weekend. Say hi to Ben and the dogs for me. Happy birthday, Havoc. And
he says hi.
Yeah. And we'll talk soon, I guess, hopefully. All right. So thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, that was Chrys. I'm going to pull up this. They also have a... Yeah, so I'm going to just tell you, like, the takeaway. The takeaway I have is Chrys is a very nice woman. She doesn't have, a mean bone in her, again, I think about profit and flipping and stuff, but I can tell you, like, there are stores out there, like the store I didn't open my store to, like, make money. There was no money to be made in Pokemon in 2014. I think she is about to, I think she did a great job explaining a few things that I didn't quite, get. If you are focused on community and you're focused not on the bottom dollar, then this business model makes a lot more sense to me. And there are a lot of people I have found that are fake about being pro community. And I have a very good sense about this because of like having owned a store. And she is not one of them, which then explains the business aspect of why there is such layaway, consignment, all this stuff, in my mind, is explained by the sheer fact that it was never really for business. It's for the community. And I believe that. I fully believe that. I do. Because I've met store owners, more likely in 2014 than in 2026, that were, let me give you an example of a store owner I met. Eton Games, shout out to them. They're in Humble. It was like 4 school teachers. One of them is a math teacher, and they wanted to teach kids math. So they opened a game store. So I'll give them a shout out. And they're not in it for money. They're not in it. So this is a local game store I go to. And they're in it for community. They have like flea market festivals. Like they have a lot of these like community-based events that do not make money. And I've had the conversation with them. In fact, what was it? Like, let me tell you how it is. So they were looking to buy a collection. They couldn't afford a collection. They knew I had a game store. They were looking to help the buyer at zero cost because he was a customer that was there regularly. Let me see if I have this video. Still, I may not have this video. Pokémon Magic collection, and they're just helping. They're just helping. How to build a Magic collection. I might not have the video anymore. Yeah, I probably don't have the video anymore. But they went and contacted me, and I contacted another person, and we bought their collection together. So, yeah, no, I get it. But not everyone is opening a store. Not everyone's opening a store because they want every last dime. Right? And I understand that. It's something that I have long forgotten. You know, everything in today is about flipping and flipping and flipping. But here's the thing. Brian was okay with it. So, Bill, now we can read some Billy chats. I'm just saying that if she wanted to run a nonprofit for kids, that's what she could have done because the community doesn't care if you go out of business. Yeah, I'll absolutely agree with that statement from Billy. That, you know, a lot of people, their dream is, Crystal's working 13 hours a day now. So if you guys think that Crystal's made up with all this money and they're having a great... No, she's working 13 hours a day right now at retail. So this wasn't like some type of get-quick-rich scheme, guys. And whatever salary she took in, she put in back to the store. So the one point I want to say is Brian was okay with layaway, right? Brian was okay with layaway. He was okay with the things selling slower. If he wasn't okay with it, he could have pulled his clutch. So, a lot of what I've been critical about Christopher, I can't be critical. I'm not the customer, right? Oh, Billy's stealing. I'm a BAM franchise owner. I agree with the hindsight, yeah. So, a lot of things that I was critical about, I'm not Brian. It's not my right to be critical, and not your right to be critical about these things if Brian was okay with it. If Brian thumbs up layaway, then how can I criticize layaway? If Brian was okay with things selling slower and not selling online, then how can I mean, at the end of the day, he's the customer. You know, you'll always have customers always right? So again, I know that many game store owners, many of them may not actually care about every last dollar, right? I'm trying to buy enough time. I don't know why GoFundMe, I don't even know how it works. I don't know why GoFundMe is not showing my name here. I'm trying to, like, get my name here, but it's not working. I'm pretty sure I donated to the right place. What is going on? So maybe I don't have a profile. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll just show you on my thing that's right. Is it here? Oh, it's my PayPal donated it. No shit. Okay. So we're good to go. You guys can donate to Chrys. Yeah, yours is showing up. Mine is not. And that's very concerning to me. Yeah, I'll just show it to you. JP Morgan. Yeah, I checked my receipt. I don't even know which account I'm on, to be honest. Like, it doesn't tell me. It just logs me onto PayPal. I have two accounts. I have a business account and I have a regular account. I have no idea what account it logged me, because I just clicked the GoFundMe. Hold on. So I hope it donated. Like, I don't know why I have these problems. You know what? Like, okay, whatever. I'll donate it again if it's not appearing. Yes, Billy owns Refresh Toys. We have an interview with Billy on the channel. I am starting my own interview style show because of Tony. I will be live streaming at BAM Corp next week. Exclusive. Yeah, if we could get Amin, man. If we can get Amin, I think maybe mine was anonymous. Mine was via... It's kind of concerning if they just keep your money for no reason. Yeah, I see like recent donations, but I was like more recent than this. You know, see it. All right, I'll show it next time. Whatever happens to it, I'll do. I see like 12 minutes ago. I see 5 minutes ago, but I don't see mine, which is obviously weird. Anyway, yeah, we will catch you guys later. And yeah, guys, very good interview. Billy McNabb. No, Billy's a good friend of ours. I doubt Amin will be doing much more interviews. But yeah, thank you, Crystal, for her time, and definitely donate to her GoFundMe if you are able.